We're in Louisiana's capital city, arguably the best college baseball game day environment in the country. The Rice Owls out of Conference USA and Louisiana State, champs from the SEC, were both in Omaha last year. This year, only room for one. Game one of this best-of-3 Super Regional starts now. Tiger Stadium is known as Death Valley during the football season. New Alec Box Stadium is just as tough on baseball opponents. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals, presented by Capital One. Tonight in Baton Rouge, game one of a best-of-3 to decide who's going to Omaha and the College World Series next week. It's the Rice Owls and LSU Tigers. The winner of this series will advance to play the Virginia Ole Miss winner in Omaha. Game one going to Ole Miss today. 4 SEC teams remain alive. Conference USA has 3. In the other bracket, Southern Miss and East Carolina are trying to get to Omaha for the first time. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to this new ballpark in Baton Rouge, Alec Box Stadium, alongside former 3-time All-American at Stanford, Kyle Peterson. I'm Clay Matvick. It's a shame that we're not seeing these two teams in Omaha next week because they are both very good. As for LSU, Kyle, very typical of the Tigers. They score a lot of runs. They've had 64 driven in by their All-American Blake Dean.
The guy that's really done it for the last 2 years for this LSU team. Blake Dean was an All-American last year, was MVP of the regional last year, back to his old tricks again this year. But it started a little bit slow. You can see the numbers, but how much better they've been over the last couple months. Dean is that guy that can lull you to sleep during a game, can look batting at bat and really make a guy pay. It's a lot of power in this Tiger offense, but Blake Dean might be the most impressive.
Meanwhile, Rice is back in the NCAA tournament for the 15th straight year under the legendary head coach Wayne Graham, and he has an exciting rookie in third baseman Anthony Rendon.
He might be the best freshman in the entire country. Wayne Graham said he's the best third baseman I've ever had, and he's a freshman. Look at Rendon's numbers: 19 home runs, 70 RBIs, the only freshman in the history of Conference USA to be both freshman of the year and player of the year. The kid can do it all at third base for Rice.
Well, these teams also have 2 of the best pitching staffs in the country. A pair of standout righties get the call tonight in Game 1. The first pitch from Baton Rouge coming up next.
The NCAA Super Regionals is presented on ESPN by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by the new 2010 Ford Fusion. Get in and drive one. And John Deere. Deer season is going on now. Visit your John Deere dealer today.
There is the old Alec Box Stadium. It was home to the Tigers for 70 years. The last game there was a win for the Tigers over UC Irvine in the Supers last year. Now the new digs, new Alec Box Stadium. The capacity is increased by approximately 1,700, and they love this new ballpark. Let's take a look at our Coca-Cola starting lineups for the Rice Owls. It's going to be Brock Holt leading off and playing second base, followed by Rick Haig at short, Diego Seastrunk in the 3 spot, Anthony Rendon, Chad Mazingo, Michael Fuda, Ryan Lewis, Steven Saltzbaugh, and Jimmy Camarada. And they're going to be facing Anthony Renato, the right-hander for LSU, second-team All-SEC, and he is a strikeout machine.
This kid has big-time stuff, and the biggest change from last year's LSU team to this year's LSU team has been on the mound. Renato's really been the guy that's driven that big-time stuff. I mean, a fastball that can get up 94, 95 miles an hour, 3rd in the country in strikeouts. Biggest change to Renato this year, the ability to sink the ball. So see if he can get a lot of ground balls tonight in this Rice lineup.
Brock Holt stands in for Rice. And the first pitch is buried for strike 1. Holt has been a productive leadoff hitter for Wayne Graham, supplying some power from this #1 spot for the Owls. And here comes Renato again, and it's fouled off. He's ahead in the count, 2 strikes. Holt was named to the all-regional team last weekend for Rice, hitting .364, and he led the team with 8 runs scored. Rice had to do a little handiwork in the regional. After losing to K-State on Saturday, they had to work their way back through the losers bracket, and they did just that. Swung on and hit in the air to right field. Jared Mitchell battling the sun out there. it for round number 1. Here's the defense for the Tigers behind Anthony Renato. It's Ryan Schimpf, Mikey Matuk, and Mitchell from left to right. Tyler Hanover, Austin Nola, DJ LeMahieu, and Sean O'Chinkle from third to first. And Micah Gibbs is catching Renato. Pretty good fielding percentage, 18th in the country.
The biggest changes, too, since a freshman. Nola was plugged in at shortstop.
Rick Haig takes strike 1. Haig has been the Owls' starting shortstop the last couple of years. And Renato just pounding that strike zone to start cut.
That's one of the things he's really done a good job of this year. A bit wild last year. This year, though, he's been a lot better. Just 41 walks in 102 innings. And you see the ability to throw that breaking ball over, too. When he gets ahead, Renato's really tough.
Rice 43-16 coming into tonight. 16-8 in Conference USA. They finished second in the regular season. And Wayne Graham's club, for the first time, did not win its league since 1996. Pitch misses high, a ball and 2 strikes to Haig.
You know, I think some of that, too, speaks to the strength of the league. I mean, Conference USA has 3 teams still alive. Southern Miss still alive. Obviously, Rice is as well. East Carolina was at 1 seed. They'll play North Carolina. That's a pretty good league this year.
Now it's 2-2. Now, we talked to Graham this week, and he said he's not disappointed that Rice didn't get a top 8 national seed. They were in that conversation. But he is a little disappointed that the committee placed them here for the Supers.
This is probably a game that should have taken place in Omaha because both these teams are plenty good enough to be there.
Good battle here between Haig and Renato as it's 2-2. Yeah, no doubt what vexes Wayne Graham is the lack of respect, maybe, for Conference USA here in recent years.
Well, they've proven. I mean, this year they've proven that was a really strong league. I mean, you get 3 teams through like they did, and Southern Miss had to do it by going on the road.
Count stays 2-2.
Good at bat. Haig's a guy that's kind of been overshadowed this year. Had a great freshman year at shortstop. Really came on and was one of the top freshmen in the entire country. Really taken a step back this year, but hasn't jumped forward, I think, like I thought a lot of people would. 9 home runs is a good number, but he has struck out a lot, 66 times coming into the night.
That's what Anthony Renato does. There is strikeout number 1 on the night.
Watch him elevate the fastball right here, and the ability to do that is what's made Renato so good. We talk about his sinker, and his sinker's been great, but if you can do this, elevate the four seam, but I don't think he really meant to. I think they were trying to go down and away. You see Micah Gibbs sitting up down there, but not a bad spot to miss. If you can miss up in the zone, and that's a good spot. Up and out of the zone is a good pitch. Up and in the zone is where you get hurt. 5
times this season, Renato has had double digits in strikeouts. And he goes strike 1 to Diego Seastrunk, the Rice catcher. He is a switch hitting catcher who has made a successful transition from third base to behind the plate. He had never caught before this year. Here's the 0-1.
Started 0-2 to the first 3 guys of the game. How about that? I mean, controlling the zone early.
Crowd vocal already. Just missed off the plate. 1-2 to Seastrunk. Renato, the 11th round pick of the Rangers in 2007. He was named the MVP of last week's regional. Breaking pitch, and again just Mitch. Renato was halfway to the dugout. He thought he had strike 3.
That one was pretty good, and I love breaking balls on that side of the plate that have this much motion. That's a little backdoor breaking ball. Gibbs brought it back down. That might have missed up. Micah Gibbs behind the plate, and we'll talk about him a lot as this series goes on. He's one of the most unheralded guys in this entire LSU team. He can really catch.
In the air. Shallow center field. DJ LeMahieu going back. The center fielder Matuk calls everybody off. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Anthony Renato. We're going to see LSU at the plate for the first time. There's Paul Maneri the National Coach of the Year last year for the LSU Tigers, and since being hired away from Notre Dame 3 years ago, he has really re-energized this LSU program. Here's a look at his Coca-Cola lineup. It's DJ LeMahieu leading off and playing second base, followed by Ryan Schimpf. Blake Dean, the All-American, in the 3 spot. Micah Gibbs behind the plate. Mikey Matuk is in center. Sean Ochinko, Jared Mitchell, Tyler Hanover, and Austin Nola. Mike Ojala is on the mound for Rice. And one of Rice's weekend starters who's been outstanding this year despite an injury which kept him off the mound for the better part of a month.
A kid that really has great numbers. I mean, Ojala is not going to blow you away with his stuff. He's not going to come out and throw as hard as Renato, but he really knows how to pitch. A 1.73 ERA in a conference that we just talked about that really was one of the top 4 or 5 in the entire country this year. Yeah, it's been important for Rice the past couple of years. He's pitched in big games, but Clay, like you mentioned, he is pitching with an injury. We'll talk about it more as the game goes on, but it's pretty amazing that he's even out there right now.
DJ LeMahieu, the first hitter for the Tigers. And he takes high, ball 1. And for Ojala, it has been a tough year. This is inside. He has a torn ulnar collateral ligament in his right elbow. And he's going to have Tommy John surgery after the season, but it's okay to pitch now. It healed enough to keep the pain under control. He's behind in the count to LeMahieu, 0-3.
I mean, you just think about that. I mean, that always requires Tommy John when it's torn like that. But the fact that this kid's out there pitching in a game like this, and he basically said, listen, give me the ball. I mean, it's already torn. Just let me pitch.
There's a strike.
Rice doctors checked it out, said, yeah, he can't really do any more damage to it. We're going to have to do the surgery anyway. So the kid took some time off. Now Ojala's back and really pitching at a real high level.
Third best ERA in the nation. Here's the 3-1. And breaking pitch in there. 3-2 as he battles back to fill out the count.
Well, off-speed 3-1, and it shows you the respect that they have for LeMahieu. Just a sophomore, but quite a hitter.
To the right side, and the second baseman Holt gobbles it up. 1 down. Let's go to the studio. An NCAA championship update with Ryan Burr.
Thanks a lot, Clay. Let's catch you up to date. Virginia, Ole Miss. Cavaliers looking ahead to the College World Series for the first time ever. Bottom of the 12th. Now it's Matt Smith. High, far, and gone. The walk-off home run beats Virginia in 12 innings, 4-3. Florida State, Arkansas. The game started at noon, and they are now waiting 7:30. We are expecting to see first pitch here, bottom of the 5th inning. Arkansas leading that game 2-1. Clay and Kyle, back to you.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Rice, LSU, the winner of this series, will take on either Virginia or Mississippi in Omaha. And what a great start for Ole Miss.
Great start. Yeah, and they were down 3-2 in the 9th.
Ryan Schimpf to hit now for LSU. He takes strike 1. Schimpf, second team all SEC, leads the team in home runs. On a team that has 92 homers for the year. 2 strikes now to Schimpf. Last year, LSU hit 100 homers all season. Matt Clark, who's now in the minors, hit 28 last year. It's a far cry from the days of Gorilla Ball when they were banging, 150, 180 home runs out of here back in the 90s. But still a very powerful offensive LSU team. Swing and a miss. And Ojala has strikeout number 1. Here is the defense for Rice. In the outfield, it's Michael Fuda, Steven Solzbaugh, and Chad Mazingo. Anthony Rendon is at third, Haig and Holt in the middle. Jimmy Camarada over at first, and Diego Seastrunk is catching Ojala. Seastrunk, quite a story. He has done a great job learning how to catch this year. He was a third baseman the last couple of seasons for Rice. And he has done an excellent job, especially with Ojala. He has a biting curveball, and learning how to block pitches, not easy.
No, and that's not an easy transition. I mean, you go from third base to back behind the plate, and that's not a move that a lot of guys make at this point in Seastrunk's career. But he's been very good back there, and as Wayne Graham says, getting really better by the game.
Breaking ball in there for strike 2. 1-2 now to Blake Dean.
Another thing to remember about Rice, a lot of college programs, the coaches will call most of the pitches. Not that way at Rice. The catcher calls the entire game. So not only did he have to make the defensive adjustment, now he also has to call the games from back behind the plate. And that's something that has taken a little bit longer, but Seastruck's done a real good job.
Handcuffed Dean. Yes, he went. Back-to-back strikeouts. Good start for Mike Ojala. We played one. No score here in Baton Rouge. One inning in the books here in Baton Rouge between Rice and LSU. This is game 1 of the Super Regional. Hey, follow us on the road to Omaha on Facebook and Twitter. Search ESPN College World Series on Facebook and become a fan to get behind the scenes, to access video, trivia, polls, and discussions. And ESPN college baseball analyst Kyle Peterson will also be on Twitter, giving live updates and insight on all the college baseball storylines throughout the championship. But I know you've been busy with that today. Anthony Rendon is going to lead off for Rice. He is the first player in Conference USA history to be named the Freshman of the Year and the Player of the Year in the same season. And takes ball 1. From Anthony Renato, who had a good top of the first inning. And a 1-2-3 inning. And there's a strike to Rendon. Boy, Wayne Graham's eyes just light up when he talks about Rendon. He played his high school ball at Lamar High School, just up the road from Rice in Houston. 1-2. I think that Wayne expected for Rendon to be pretty good with the bat, but the fielding has been better than expected, and he is just a complete player way earlier than a lot of people expect.
This kid can really do it all. I mean, for Wayne Graham, who has seen a lot of baseball over the course of his career. He's a coach at San Jacinto Junior College. Coached both Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit there. They won some national titles. But this is the guy that he called the best third baseman he's ever had. The kid's only a freshman.
And he strokes this to right center field, and this is going to run the gap. Getting over there is Matuk, and it's going to be a leadoff double for Rendon to start the second inning for Rice.
Those guys you go watch in batting practice, and the ball just comes off their bat different. It's hard to explain until you see it. Rendon's that guy. It sounds different. The ball has more carry. I mean, he's just a special player when he steps in the box, and this is a tough pitch to hit. I mean, it's up and in. He pulls his hands all the way in and drives that ball out to right center field. Think of the player this kid's going to be when he's a junior. If the draft was this year and he was draft eligible, he's a lock first rounder. Lock as a freshman. And he's got 2 more years to boost that draft status.
And he loves to play the game, and he loves to practice, so the intangibles are there too. Now Chad Mazingo for Rice with nobody out. And he takes outside. Mazingo, second team Conference USA. He's been battling a hand injury. And Wayne Graham said putting him in the lineup tonight was a game-time decision. Well, you can see that Mazingo's in there, and it was probably going to take a lot to keep him out. He's fighting through the pain. Nobody out for Rice here in the second. Swing and a miss.
We talked about Ojala and the injury that he's battling. Mazingo has a broken hamate bone in that right hand. It's that little hook bone that's in your hand. A lot of times you see hitters break it on a check swing. Well, just like Ojala, he doesn't want to stop playing either. So has taped it up, taken some medicine before games, and really hasn't missed much. But you know, especially on swings and misses, that's bugging him.
Breaking ball. 1-2.
It's one of those where if you make contact, it's not going to feel great, but it's not going to hurt nearly as bad as if you swing and miss, because there's such a lot longer follow through with a swing and a miss.
Talked to a couple of specialists. It doesn't sound like he can do any further damage to it.
It's broken, and they're going to take it out after the season, so it's just a matter of how much pain he can take.
It's fisted foul. It stays 1-2 to Chad Mazingo, sophomore from Spring, Texas. There you see the numbers. A regular in the Rice outfield last year as a freshman. One of 5 starters back from last year's College World Series team. This is a good Rice group again. And we talked about it in the first inning. Certainly worthy of a trip to Omaha again here in 2009. They've got a tough road here with a stop in Baton Rouge. Back up the middle. Nice job by Renato. He's going to run right at Rendon. They've got him hung up. Between second and third, it's thrown away. And Rendon is going to get home plate. And they're going to award third base to Mozingo. So what a throwing error for LSU. It costs them a run here in the second inning.
Wow. And Rendon gets bailed out right here, too, because a freshman made a freshman mistake. For as good as he is at the plate, this one just about ran Rice right out of an inning. You got to make sure this ball either gets through or gets to the right side. If the pitcher fields it, now you're in no man's land. And Renato does exactly what he's supposed to do, run at the runner like he does right there. But it's the throw that's made on the run that goes right over the head of Hanover at third base. And really, he has no chance. The minute it goes in the dugout, Rendon's home. In this case, Mozingo all the way around to third base. What looked like one out, runner on first for Rice in this inning. Now a run in, a runner on third, still nobody out.
And now Michael Fuda. And pitch a little high from Renato. Austin Nola, the shortstop for LSU. A mistake here, and it leads to a Rice run. Michael Fuda, former 2-sport athlete at Rice. And that misses down. 2 balls and no strikes. Fuda was playing football for the Owls, now concentrating on just baseball. I mean, both of these teams have quite a few 2-sport athletes. 2 balls, no strikes. Mozingo at third. And that's fouled away, 2-1. Nola, the shortstop. You know, when we talk about LSU and you get to talk with Paul Maneri, he credits the move of putting him at shortstop, and you mentioned it before, as when everything really started to fall into place for the Tigers.
That was a gutsy move, too. I mean, one that he felt needed to be made.
Fouled away.
We talk about the team, LSU's team last year. I mean, you've got LeMahieu at shortstop. You've got Schimpf at second base. I mean, and obviously that worked pretty well. But the problem is through the first 40 games, they had not turned a 6-4-3 double play. So they needed to change some things up the middle. They plugged Nola in, who defensively, Paul Maneri says, has as good a hands as he's ever had as a shortstop. LeMahieu makes the move to second. Now Schimpf goes out to left field, and it's really solidified this infield.
Pitch is high, 3-2 now to Fuda. Infield in behind Renato. As Rice has got on the board first here in the top of the second. There's Mozingo. Hit to left center field, now hooking back to Matuk. He's got it. Runner tags. Here's Mozingo trying to score. The throw is not in time, and it's 2-0 Rice.
The key so often with the best teams is they make you pay when you make a mistake. And right here, runner on third base, nobody out. Fuda at the plate, and if he gets something up in the air, you know, all he's trying to do is elevate it to the outfield, and he did just that. But Rice now, because of that LSU error, pushes 2 runs across when it looked like they might have trouble pushing any across this inning.
And now here's the DH, Ryan Lewis. And Renato starts him on the outside corner with a strike. Lewis back in his hometown this weekend. Freshman from Baton Rouge. Went to Baton Rouge Catholic. Just down the road. And he's behind in the count, 2 strikes. He was named the city's male athlete of the year. And high school teammates with the shortstop for LSU, Austin Nola. Got him on 3 pitches. Out number 2, and the second strikeout for Anthony Renato.
Fastball away to start him, then he freezes him with the fastball inside, and it just allows you to do so many different things. Renato's curveball is a good one because it goes straight top to bottom. Look at how tight that break is. Comes out of his hand. The break is almost straight out of his hand. Tough for the freshman Lewis to pick up. That is a great curveball. I like 12-6 rotation. It's changing so many planes. It's that much tougher for a hitter to make contact.
And there's Renato ahead in the count again, this time to Steven Saltzbaugh. And there is no one hotter in the Rice lineup than this guy. 22 for his last 44 at the plate. Throwing a couple of homers, a couple of triples, and a couple of doubles over that span for Saltzbaugh. Good numbers over the year. Inside 2-1. So Renato getting touched here in the second inning. Paul Mainieri looks on. It seems like Paul Mainieri, though, he's behind. He's unlikely to have a bad day. That guy's got as good a personality. He's amiable all the time.
He's a great fit down here, as he obviously has ties to LSU, is well aware of the culture down here and the baseball tradition. But a great coach. I mean, took Notre Dame to the College World Series, understands what it's like to take the reins down here at LSU, and he's done a great job in the 3 years he's been here.
Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning for Renato. A double and an error leads to 2 runs for Rice. They lead it after 1.5.
Ryan Burr in studio. Over on ESPN Classic, Arkansas and Florida State have started up again. This game started at noon, and they have resumed play bottom of the 5th inning. Seminoles have the bases loaded, down 2-1 to Arkansas. We'll keep you updated throughout the evening. Clay?
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Kyle and I, we know all about that from last week. The weather delays in Tallahassee. 2-0 here in Baton Rouge. A Saturday night, ESPN kicks off a U.S. World Cup qualifier as Landon Donovan and Team USA take on Honduras. U.S. World Cup qualifier on ESPN Saturday at 8 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. A pair of unearned runs for Rice in the top of the second. So LSU down as they hit here in the bottom of 2. It's Micah Gibbs to lead off. And Ojula misses outside. Micah Gibbs, a switch hitting catcher. We've got 2 switch hitting catchers in this game. It's fairly rare. And he takes strike 1. 1-1 the count to Gibbs. One of the few Tigers in this lineup for LSU hitting under 300. As a team, LSU hitting .315 on the year. And it's 2-1. Paul Mainieri, the head coach for LSU, considers Gibbs the team MVP, not for his bat, which is pretty good, but for how he has handled the pitching staff. 2-2 the count. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Ojula. And that one just missed again. And now it's 3-2. Chop to second. Brock Holt has an easy play. And for the second straight inning, ground ball out for Ojula.
He's real good with off speed away, and that's what he got Gibbs with early. Swung over the top of a changeup. This time gets him to swing over the top of a changeup out away from him, and it's an easy out to Holt for the first out of the inning. We talked about Renato's off speed stuff. Ojula will show you a curveball that's a good one. He'll throw a changeup a lot to left-handers. Threw it twice in that at bat to Gibbs.
Mikey Matuk to hit for LSU. Matuk, another rookie for Paul Mainieri. And he's had a good one, good rookie season. Started the year as a reserve, but since late March, he's been the starting center fielder. Big cut there, right on through it, 1-1.
The key to Ojula's breaking ball, and these are the tough ones to hit, is it comes directly out of his hand and goes straight down from there. So if you're at the plate, you don't see that bubble. That ball doesn't go up before it goes down. So you read fastball right away like Matuk did right there. swing right over the top of it. That is a good breaking ball.
Popped up, and this is going to get out of play. You know, the one thing that Wayne Graham said about Ojala and that injury that he's fighting through is he's learned to pitch because of it. He's become a better pitcher. He doesn't have nearly the velocity he once did. I mean, it's still pretty good, but he's had to learn to work around this injury.
It's like guys that pitch better when they're sick. I mean, it forces you to think a lot better because you can't just get away with stuff. I mean, Ojala never had incredible stuff. It was always pretty good, but he's not throwing as hard as he was before.
And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
See Seastrunk move out there to block that ball. That was the one thing when we talked to Wayne Graham yesterday. He said maybe he's got a little bit further to go. And you got to understand, I mean, this guy's trying to learn that catch in position from the fall to this point. Watch him go out and kind of see that natural third base. And that first instinct is to backhand that ball. He's a little late getting out there.
Down and in now, 3-2. He said of Seastrunk, he thinks that this move might help him get to pro ball faster, going from third base to catcher.
He's got a big time arm. And before it's all said and done, he might have a chance to pitch when he gets to pro ball. I mean, a kid that's hit 94 miles an hour on the mound and has pitched a little bit for Rice, but for the most part, they've kept him in the field and at the plate.
Swing and a miss. Got him. What a battle there between Matuk and Ojala. The win goes to Ojala, out number 2. And that's the second strikeout for him.
When he goes back to that breaking ball that got Matuk early in the at-bat. But watch how this starts out of his hand. It's straight out of his hand. You don't see it go up before it goes down. It's the same swing that Matuk took earlier. You cannot read the spin. And if you don't see the spin, there's no chance you're going to make contact. You read fastball, you're out ahead of it because the velocity difference is about 10 miles an hour.
And now Shano Chinko for LSU. He hits with 2 outs here in the second. There's a called strike. And Shano Chinko would probably be the everyday starting catcher for just about any other team in the country. But with Micah Gibbs behind the plate, he has been over at first most of the year. That's where he is tonight. He's down in the count here 0-2. Just a beautiful ballpark here. The new Alec Box Stadium. The shadows now drifted out onto the infield. Ochinko checking his swing. They appeal to the first base umpire, Bill Speck. He says no, he didn't. It's 1-2.
Pretty good spot for an 0-2 fastball, about 6 to 8 inches off the plate. Close enough that he might get a guy to offer at the plate. Ochinko does a good job of holding those hands back and not quite going through. We saw the shadows just a minute ago. That plays a part right now because that ball's coming out of the sun and back into the shadow.
Got it. So back-to-back strikeouts here for Ojala. And LSU turned away here in the second. It's 2-0 Rice after 2.
Ryan Burr, Sports Center right now. Robert Dozier is the second men's basketball player who started on the Memphis team that went to the championship game in 08 to have questions about his entrance exam. Dozier took the SAT twice. His scores were 520 points different. Roger Federer will face Robin Soderling in the French Open singles final on Sunday. Both advanced to the finals with wins today. Sports Center, 11 p.m. ESPN. Now it's back to Baton Rouge.
You're watching ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Now the College World Series returns to Omaha. The action beginning Saturday, June 13th at 2 o'clock Eastern Time live on ESPN HD. For more information on the 09 College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Rice to hit here in the top of the third. They're leading 2-0. Anthony Renato on the mound for the Tigers. This ball fouled off by Jimmy Camarada. And it's strike 1. Camarada, the number 9 hitter for Rice. Junior out of Missouri City, Texas. Nicknamed Jimmy Baseball by Wayne Graham and his Rice teammates. Just a good teammate. This year, he has been asked, Kyle, to move from second base, which he played last year, to first base. And he has been very successful over there at the corner infield spot. And those are the kind of guys you like on your team. To first. Ochinko steps on the bag, 1 out.
Well, Camarada, I mean, we were talking to Wayne Graham yesterday, and he said, you know what, we basically have 4 shortstops on the infield. I mean, Camarada was the guy that played second base last year for him. Defensively around the rest of the infield, they've got Rendon, who played shortstop in high school. Haig, who's obviously playing shortstop now, and Holt's the same way. So from a hand standpoint, I mean, that's as solid an infield as you're going to see.
Now back to the top of the order, and Brock Holt. Holt flew out to right field his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Takes strike 1 here. He was named to the all-regional team last weekend, hit .364 and led the team with 8 runs scored. As that one sails high out of the hand of Renato. This is Rice's 5th straight Super Regional. Last year they went to the College World Series but lost 2 straight to Fresno State, which of course was the eventual national champion. And this LSU team trying to get back. Fouled off 1 and 2. The last 2 times LSU has been knocked out of the NCAA tournament at home came at the hands of the Rice Owls. The Owls out to a good start here tonight. 2-2. You know, there's a pretty good history between these 2 teams in postseason play.
Played a pretty good one last year in Omaha, too. A game that looked like Rice was going to run away and hide, and LSU came back, winning that game 6-5. Man's seen a lot of baseball in his life.
6-2 all-time against LSU in the postseason. Strikeout number 4 for Anthony Renato. And let's take a look at the Home Depot coaching clinic. We go back an inning to this rundown play, Kyle.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the ground ball back to Renato, but it's what happens after this. Watch the freshman right here. Try to get inside Austin Nola. Try to get all the way inside the line right there to clear the runner. And that's the key to the base runner when you've got a guy in a rundown. You want to give yourself a little bit of room on the inside, but it looked like Nola felt like he had to go over the top of the runner. That's why that ball cleared the runner, went right over the top of Hanover's head at third base. So if you got guys in a rundown, try to get either inside or outside. Yell at that other fielder, either inside or outside. So you give yourself a little bit of room. It's a lot easier to make that throw. You don't feel like you have to throw it over the top of the runner.
Haig toward the alley in right center. This is going to get down for a hit. He thinks about 2, but he's going to hold up. And it's a 2-out single. Let's go for an NCAA studio update with Ryan Burke.
All right, Clay, thanks a lot. Keeping you up to date here. Tallahassee, it's Florida State and Arkansas. Bases loaded, Will Kimmy, for Ahmed Danesh.
And they don't get any here, but look, it's a battle of the bullpens now. Florida State's offense should be able to prevail against thin pitching staff.
2-2 in the 6th inning. We keep you updated from Tallahassee.
All right, thanks, guys. It's going to be a late day in Tallahassee again. The 2nd straight week. They had weather delays there in the regionals as well. Here's Diego Seastrung now. Runner goes. Here's the throw from Micah Gibbs, and got it! Haig is thrown out by a very good defensive catcher, Micah Gibbs, and Rice is done here in the top of the 3rd. We have played. Beautiful Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Game 1 of this Super Regional. And it's Rice 2-0 on top of LSU as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Don't forget the Road Dome on. The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals continue on ESPN tonight as Louisville takes on Cal State Fuller. Super Regional coverage presented on ESPN by Capital One tonight. That's over on ESPN2 at 10:30 Eastern. Bottom 3rd of the LSU order. It's Jared Mitchell, Tyler Hanover, and Austin Nola to hit. And it's a 2-0 count on Mitchell. Coming off a great regional, named to the all-tournament team. Hit .455 here in Baton Rouge. Another 2-sport athlete. And it's 2-1. We talked about before, Kyle, there are a lot of them on the field here tonight. This is the first year that Mitchell didn't participate in spring football practice for Les Miles.
I think it's made a difference, too. I mean, from a baseball standpoint, Mitchell's had a big-time year. A kid that's probably going to be a first-round pick.
2-2 now.
From a pure speed standpoint, Mitchell might be the fastest player in all of college baseball. Great speed on the base pass, but as an outfielder can go and get anything. Tells you just how good this LSU outfield is with that speed. Mitchell not even playing center field. The freshman Matuk in center field, who we talked to Paul Maneri yesterday, said he might be just about as fast as Mitchell is. So this is a fast LSU outfield, but Mitchell had a chance to play a lot of pro ball, I think.
Check this swing. They're going to appeal to the third base umpire this time, Steve Matting. And no, he didn't go. It's 3-2. Here's Jared Mitchell on the football field. And Paul Maneri talked with Les Miles saying, hey, you know, let's just concentrate on baseball this year. What do you think? You got the go-ahead.
I'll tell you what, too. I mean, give Les Miles credit for that, too, because that's taking a kid out of spring practice. But you realize that maybe his best chance to go make money and play the game at the next level is baseball.
Walked him. First walk allowed by Ojula. So a man on for Tyler Hanover, and keep an eye on Mitchell over there at first. He's got wheels, as we've been talking about.
33 stolen bases on the year for Mitchell, and you can expect Paul Maneri to press that button pretty quick. We talked about Seastrunk and this being his first year back behind the plate. If there's one thing that he has done pretty well, it's throw the ball. That arm is a big-time arm. A lot of times that's the thing that comes quickest back behind the plate. Receiving and blocking the ball takes a little longer.
So Ojula pitching from the stretch for the first time. As Mitchell is the first Tigers base runner. And we see Hanover at the plate. He's made a nice impact for LSU over at third base and in the lineup.
Just 5'6", but don't let that fool you, because this kid has some juice. We watched him take batting practice yesterday. Hanover has big-time power. Mitchell, look at that, 67 stolen bases, second in school history. They keep playing, too. He could break that record.
Third time he has thrown over to first already, and the crowd getting restless. There is not a baseball community in the country around the college game that understands it better than these fans here in Baton Rouge. Hit and run was on. Hanover able to foul it off.
You hit on it. That's exactly what they are. I mean, they're obviously passionate fans. I mean, they're passionate about all their sports down here in Baton Rouge. But one of the things that I'm always impressed with when we come down here is just how well they know the game and how well they respect the other side. They'll get on them. I mean, we saw this last year when we were down there for the Super at Irvine, but they'll also stand up and give a guy a standing ovation when he needs it. It's a great, great college baseball crowd.
Hanover sharply to center, but right at Saltzbaugh for out number one. Let's learn a little bit more about Mike Ojula with her campus connection. Ojula out of Kingwood, Texas. He's a junior. Big guy, too. 6'3", 195. He's already been to a couple of College World Series with the Owls. He's one of 6 kids, comes from a big family. And even though he has suffered from that ulnar collateral ligament injury, and he missed several starts, his numbers were still good enough during second-team Conference USA. Austin Nola, the number 9 hitter now for LSU.
Watch Mitchell when he takes this lead. And the last time out there, his feet were moving the entire time. Ojula went too quick to the plate. He keeps moving. Gotta make sure on the
knocked down by Seastrunk. The throw is in time. They got him. You talked about Seastrunk's arm. There we see it for the first time. You would never know that he's a first-year catcher.
Has an absolute cannon. Kid that played third base last year, had a great arm across the diamond. And remember, he'll pitch a little bit too, and has thrown as hard as 94 miles an hour. Watch this. Keeps it in front of him on the block and throws a seed to Haig out at shortstop. I mean, if this is not right on the button, there's no chance they throw out. Mitchell takes a chance right there, and Seastrunk throws him out.
And it looks even bigger now as Austin Nola goes to center with a base hit. It would have been 2 on and 1 out for LSU, but now it's a 2-out single for Nola.
With Mitchell in this case, too, you're taking a chance because you don't think this ball's going to stay that close to Seastrunk back by an own plate. The key to blocking the ball is that it come directly down in front of you, and that's where Seastrunk had an advantage. All his momentum was already going towards second base.
Now Seastrunk is going to walk out. There is a balk called on Mike Ojala. We saw a lot of balks called last weekend in the Tallahassee Regional. We see our first year of this Super.
NCAA rule is different than the Major League rule. It's a clear and discernible stop. That would look close. Major League rule is you have to change directions. You get bounce, come down, go directly back up, and it's not a balk. College rule's different. You got to come to a stop, and that's the one thing. If umpires are looking at it, the course of a game, it's that right there. We saw 7 balks last weekend in Tallahassee. The vast majority of them are all because of that. That's what they watch most in the college game.
DJ LeMahieu sends it off the roof here at Alec Box Stadium. That's one thing that's different here at this ballpark that the old ballpark didn't have is the overhang.
How far it comes out. It doesn't carry here like it used to with the old one either. I mean, we saw it a little bit in BP, and we talked about the power numbers of LSU. They're good this year, but this field's going to play a little different. That last place, if you got it backspun and out to right center field, if it was going to carry out, this place is a pretty fair ballpark all around.
LeMahieu right at the shortstop, Haig. And the Tigers strand a runner here in the bottom of the third. How about Diego Seastrunk showing off the arm? It's 2-0 Rice. This new ballpark has so many great amenities in Baton Rouge. Suites, club lounge, arcade, novelty shop, plaza, you name it. But the players' facilities are probably the most impressive, and certainly from a recruiting standpoint, maybe this is the biggest investment that LSU has made on the new Alec Box Stadium.
Pretty big league.
Now we take a look at our Coke Zero game track, and it's 2-0 Rice through 3 innings here in Baton Rouge.
Ojala has been great on the mound. I mean, we talked about Renato coming in. Ojala's numbers, though, matched him over the course of the year. Both have been really good. Renato, those 2 runs that he gave up, really largely just because of the air out there, but the freshman Rendon comes up big, started the 2nd inning off with a double, scored that 1st run for Rice.
And we're going to see Rendon hit again here in the 4th. It's 3, 4, and 5 for Rice. As Diego Seastrunk, the catcher, is going to lead off, and he made an excellent throw to throw out Mitchell attempting to steal last inning. We talked about it before. It's just it's a shame that these 2 programs aren't meeting in Omaha. Both very deserving, probably, of a return trip to the College World Series, but it's happening here in Baton Rouge in the Super Regional. Game 1. Anthony Renato goes to work here in the 4th inning. It's fouled off by Seastrunk as he is 0 for 1, a fly out to center his first time up.
It speaks to one of the things that I think they need to do in the selection process. Right now they just seed teams 1 through 8. There's another 8 number 1 seeds, but they're not really seeded in any order after that point.
He's going to sky it to center again. Backing off this time is Matuk. The shadow out there. Out number 1. Here are the national seeds in the NCAA tournament. LSU, the number 3 national seed. Texas, the number 1 overall seed, and barely got out of the regional.
Yeah, they had everything they wanted, a 25-inning game against BC. But you see Oklahoma and Florida, the 7 and 8 national seeds, and I had no problem with that. I mean, I think you had 4 or 5 teams that could have been those last 2. What I had a problem with is if you're Rice, which was 9th or 10th on that list, you shouldn't be matched up with an LSU. You ought to be matched up with some of those 6, 7, 8 seeds, and I just think it should be seeded 1 through 16. I mean, the one team ought to play the 16 if both get through, and so if you're just on the edge of that 9-10, that spot where you could be hosting a super regional, you ought to have the advantage of playing the team opposite you.
Rendon takes inside. It's 1-1. Rendon, of course, the double to lead off the 2nd. He came around to score. And when we talked to the Rice players this week, you could sense that maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Trying to earn a little more respect here in the Super against LSU. It's going to get through Hanover. And it's going to be an error with 1 out as Rice has a man on here in the 4th.
That's what happens when you hit the ball hard. The freshman just stayed back on this. You don't have much of a chance. I mean, this ball's hit so hard you can't really charge it, but the key is what Hanover does and how he comes up on the ball, doesn't stay down. Watch how he starts. Hands are all the way down and come up. Watch this, down and see him come up. He's thinking about going down to a knee, but you got to keep those hands all the way down. The minute they start to rise, if you're wrong, you've got no chance because you don't have enough time to shoot those hands back down. But for Rendon, if you hit the ball hard on the ground, a lot of times good things happen.
1 on, 1 out for Mozingo. Chad Mozingo grounded to short. It was Austin Nola's error that led to the run. He also came around to score. There's Rendon over at first. Wayne Graham says he has got Hank Aaron's wrists. That's quite a compliment.
I think that would qualify as a compliment, yeah.
He leads away from first, and Renato will check him. Wayne Graham, who played with the Phillies and the Mets back in the 60s, probably went up against Hank Aaron a time or two. And of course, Hank Aaron still works very closely in the Braves front office. The Braves took Rendon in the 27th round last year, and Graham said it's likely that Aaron didn't see him play, because if he had, he wouldn't be with us right now. 1-1.
He was a kid that they were real worried at Rice that they weren't going to see, because it got hot at the end of the summer, close to the time to where teams have to make a decision. August 15th is the cutoff day. So if you haven't signed by August 15th and you're a high school player or a college junior, then you've got to come back. And for Rendon, it took him right to the edge. The Braves didn't make a hard enough run at him, so he ends up here at Rice. But they thought there was a pretty good chance that the Braves were going to step up and pay, and they're real happy they didn't.
And this one gets away from the first baseman, Ochenko, as Renato's throw is a little wild. And Rendon is in scoring position with 1 out for Rice. Second error in the inning for LSU.
What looked to be just kind of an easy throw over to first base. I think that Ochenko lost that ball in the sun. The way he reached up at it, looked like he lost it just for a minute and couldn't get it. Watch when he goes up. He kind of flinches right at the end. And usually when that happens is you lose the ball in the sun or you lose it somewhere and kind of have to pull that glove right at the end to guess. But that throw wasn't bad. I mean, they weren't going to get Rendon at first base. The throw wasn't bad, and I think they're going to make that an error on the first baseman there instead of the pitcher.
Ball under strike to Mozingo. And it's fouled off 1-2. The new Alec Box Stadium is situated almost exactly the way the old one was. And the sun still is an issue at this time of night, even at the new ballpark.
I think it was about another hour and a half, and it's pretty much down below the point to where it really makes a difference. Then the toughest thing is light, because the lights really aren't taking hold until probably 9 or 9:30. Beautiful ballpark, though. One of the best things about college baseball right now is the attention that's being paid to ballparks.
In the dirt, knocked down by Gibbs. Staying put is Rendon. And it's 2-2. And when we talked with the LSU players, they said the best thing about this new place is the fact that they could cram about 1,500 more fans in here.
Yeah.
You know, they love the amenities and everything, but the crowd is what makes this place so special.
They can get close to 10,000 in here right now. I think officially it holds 9,200. They can pack 9,600, 9,700 in. And the long-term plans are to put a grass berm out beyond right field so they can get even more people in here.
Got him. 5th strikeout for Anthony Renato. We caught up with LSU's Jared Mitchell on this new ballpark. Here's what he had to say.
And this is a great place to come to every day. I really enjoy being out here every day and in my time here. And I mean, everything in there is state of the art. It's first class, and it's so nice, man. I mean, it's almost like a second home, man. You come here hours early before you even have to be here, and just to hang out.
We saw yesterday. I don't blame him.
Yeah. It still has that new car scent.
Yeah.
2 outs for Michael Fuda. As Rice hits here in the 4th inning. Strike 1 into Fuda. As a sac fly RBI to his credit tonight. Opened up in February. They got that National Championship Plaza on the main concourse. A lot more room than the old place, too. Especially in that locker room. You see all the elbow room down there? You could drive a truck in there. Back up the middle. This is going to get through for a base hit for Fuda. Coming around is Rendon, and it's 3-0 Owls. Second RBI on the game for Fuda.
Second RBI in a game, but the second time today that errors have really cost this LSU team. Rendon reaches on an error, goes to second base on an error. Now Fuda does his job. Good little two-seam fastball. I missed just a sinker right down the middle, but he goes with it. Takes it right over the head of Rendon, or excuse me, of Renato. When it gets past Renato, no chance for anybody, and a perfect break by the freshman Rendon. He knows this ball's getting past the pitcher. Broke right when it got over the top of Renato's head, and it scores easily. But again, it's the errors of LSU that have cost him. It gets Rendon on base, advances him to second, and then the single scores him easily.
An atypical night for the Tigers in the field and at home, which is a little more strange. All 3 runs tonight for the Owls unearned. And now Ryan Lewis hits. Got a piece of that one to foul off. 1 strike. Lewis, his last time up, a strikeout victim. One of the 5 for Anthony Renato. And it sounds like he's got a chance to be the starting quarterback at Rice this fall.
But that full duty, Rice class load. Go through a baseball season. You know, right when he gets done right here, then he's going to go into summer drills, and preseason football will start right at the end of July, beginning of August. He's got a chance to start a quarterback for a Rice team that won a bowl game last year.
And they went 10-3. That tied a school record. He'll be a redshirt sophomore on the football field. Runner goes. Here comes the throw from Gibbs. It's not in time. Stolen base for Michael Fuda.
Like the approach by Wayne Graham right here. You up 3 runs, you're getting down towards the bottom of your order, and Fuda doesn't have great speed, just 6 stolen bases coming into the game. But now's not a bad time to take some chances. You've already got the lead on the road. Try to continue to take this crowd out of it. Now you've got another base runner at second base in scoring position here with 2 outs.
Rice keeping the pressure on here. I mean, LSU has given the Owls some help, but Rice has come to play here tonight. No question about it. Pulled foul.
That's what you need to do in this setting. We saw it with Irvine last year. When you let the crowd get into it here at Alex Box, everything changes because you got 9,000 on their feet that are wearing purple and yellow. If you're Rice, you need to keep that pedal down because there's never enough runs that are enough in this ballpark. You want to keep the crowd out of it for as long as you possibly can.
I got to correct you. It's purple and gold because Paul Maneri about tore my head off before the game when I said the same thing. Hey, you're wearing yellow tonight. Hey,
no, it's gold.
It is gold. Don't you forget it. Here's the 1-2. Inside 2-2 now to Ryan Lewis. And these gold uniforms for LSU, you know, it's like they have some magic in them. Last year we saw that when they went on that run of 23 straight wins, which propelled them to Omaha. They were wearing gold almost every night.
There's some history in those gold uniforms. They've won a couple national titles wearing gold as well.
Lewis will step out of the box. And the national championship banners. 5. 4 in the 90s and 1 in the year 2000. Under Skip Burton. 2-2 pitch. Chased it high in the zone and fouls it off. So Lewis riding along there 2-2 with Renato. This Anthony Renato. He's 6'7", 231. You talk about leverage coming down at you from the mound. He has to be tough to hit.
Oh, and the ability to sink it, too, has been one of the biggest changes that he's made this year.
Got him. Gibbs is going to have to throw down to first, but that is strikeout number 6 for Anthony Renato. But Rice gets one more in the 4th. It's 3-0 as we go to the bottom of 4.
Ryan Burt, Will Kimmey in studio as promised, keeping you up to date with Arkansas and Florida State. Bases loaded for James McCann. Will.
And McCann took over the catching duties about midway through the year. Why? Because he's got a good bat.
Sacrifice fly there. Razorbacks take the 4-2 lead. They now lead 5-2 in the 7th inning.
Excellent job by James. Thank you very much. Rice 3, LSU nothing as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Don't forget, ESPN has a U.S. World Cup qualifier as Landon Donovan and Team USA take on Honduras. That's going to come your way 8 Eastern time on ESPN Saturday. Honduras and the U.S. in a World Cup qualifier. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. This is a qualifier as well as Super Regional. I wonder if this 3-game series qualifies for the College World Series, which starts next week. And right now it's Rice leading 3-0. All of the runs have been unearned. It's been an unusual night for the Tigers in the field as they have committed 3 errors already. Ryan Schimpf, Blake Dean, and Micah Gibbs to hit for the Tigers. And Schimpf is ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. And this is a LSU team that really prides itself on playing good defense, fundamental baseball.
Well, they've really done that since Nola went in at shortstop. And we talked about the change in this team defensively, specifically on the infield, since Nola made the change to shortstop. Freshman Hanover now playing third base. Both have been really good on the left side of the infield. But tonight, both have made key errors that have really changed the course of this game.
Breaking pitch in there. It's 2-2 now. Certainly LSU played solid baseball all around in the region in the 3 wins over Southern, Baylor, and Minnesota. Lineup produced. In the field they were near perfect, as Ryan Schimpf is going to be a strikeout victim. That is number 5 for Ojala. 1 down.
We talked about the problems LSU's had in the field. There's the freshman Nola that throws it over the other freshman Hanover's head. That scored a run. Anthony Rendon reaches on a error by Hanover, then an error by the first baseman Ochinko. Ball that gets by him. Rendon goes to second, then a 2-out single scores him from second. It's just changed the entire course of the game. All 3 Rice runs at this point unearned.
So 1 out for Blake Dean. Dean also struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. The last time LSU had 3 errors in an NCAA postseason game was 2005, and it was against Rice, and they lost that game 9-7. So right now, history on the side of the Owls.
And they've been the aggressor too. I mean, on the base pass, they've been the aggressor, taking some pretty good swings at the plate off of Renato.
2-1 now to Dean. Is nice changeup there from Ojala.
And you're using Dean's aggressiveness against him right there. You get him in a 2-0 count. Ojala, the ability to throw the changeup. That one might have been up and out of the zone, but the change of velocity was enough.
Fooled him again, 2-2.
And I'd throw it again. I mean, if he's going to swing like that, 2-0, 2-1, I'd throw it. And this time he might try to run it out of the zone. But watch, it's the same thing it was 2-0. 2 changeups in a row. Ojala's pitch count, a real good number right now, 51 after 3 in the 3rd. And the amazing thing about Ojala, Renato's throwing a lot more strikes. I mean, Renato's about 2-1 strikes to balls. Ojala hasn't had that, but the ability to go off speed when he's down in a count has been the key.
Inside now, it's a full count to Dean.
I don't like that one as much to the left-hander. That breaking ball that's coming back into the barrel of Blake Dean. That one, if he guesses wrong, he can still get enough of it and run it out.
Missed down and in. So Dean coaxes a walk here with 1 out. And that is the 2nd walk allowed by Ojala. We talked about it before, though. You're really seeing how Ojala pitches. I mean, he is a architect out there.
Well, and you see 2 different guys pitching 2 totally different ways. Renato's really pitched off of his fastball. He pounded his fastball early, then expanded the zone. Ojala's almost done the exact opposite. He's pitched off his off-speed pitches. His fastball hasn't been great tonight.
And I don't know that he minds the walk to Dean, but there is another balk call. That is the 2nd against Ojala. And the 2nd in 2 innings, in fact.
Not going to get any argument out of Wayne Graham, and well, it's the exact same thing as it was before. It looked like he was stopped for a while right there. And again, we talked about it last week, and I just think way too much attention is paid to this. I mean, unless it's a blatant deal where you come down and you bounce and you roll right through it. To me, that's close enough. I don't think that the eyes should be tuned that tight into it.
Seastrunk knocks it down. Look out, he's got a dangerous arm, and scurrying back is Blake Dean. He has seen it for himself already tonight.
Good decision by Dean, but good base running as well, because the secondary lead was getting closer to third base, and you're reading whether or not this ball gets away. You can see it just go out of the picture right there, and that's where all the momentum was going out towards third. Watch these extra steps right here. So you can see that ball's in the dirt, but he's reading whether or not it gets far enough away. Seastrunk doing a nice job of not only blocking it, but make sure he stays in front of it. as a base runner, if that ball's in front of the catcher, you can't tell how far it gets away, because if it goes right or if it goes left, it's a lot easier to see distance. If the ball's directly in front of the catcher, most of the time he's going to stay because it looks like it's real close.
Wayne Graham has come out. They were talking about that balk call, and Ojala was explaining to the coach what happened.
I was surprised that Wayne Graham didn't come out of the dugout to argue it. He didn't even really move. The rule's the rule, and the point is they're probably trying to enforce it early, so maybe they don't have to do it at a big time during a game. But 3-0 game, I guess every time's big.
You see the line on Mike. 5 strikeouts so far. Last time Gibbs was up, he grounded to second.
That's for him to go right back to the change here.
1-0 pitch. Right side again, this time past the glove of Holt, as Javi Sanchez, the third base coach, holding up Dean at third. First and third, and 1 out for LSU.
Well, that might have saved him an out right there, because Mazigo came up and threw an absolute strike to Seastruck at home plate. And I like the move by Javi Sanchez over at third base, too. When you're down 3 runs, you better make sure this run's going to score, because you don't want to run yourself out of it. Any little changeup that Gibbs does a nice job, just gets it past the second baseman Holt. But watch this throw. Mazigo charges, throws a seed into Seastruck, but now LSU getting this crowd into it for the first time tonight.
Now Mikey Matuk. Breaking pitch high. Really the first offensive threat for LSU in this baseball game, as there's plenty of activity now in the Rice bullpen. Dean at third, Gibbs at first, swing and a miss.
One of the differences that I like about Ojala is see a lot of right-handed pitchers that won't throw that changeup to righties and vice versa. Lefties won't throw it to lefties. He will. And so you got to think about 3 things up there if you're a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter. A fastball, a breaking ball, or in this case a changeup makes it a lot tougher on the hitter.
Evers, the left-hander, Reckling, the right-hander, heating up for the Owls in the bullpen. Matuk with a 1-1 count. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
You know, we got Matuk with a breaking ball the first time, got him to swing through 2 of them. If you're out there right now, I'm doing the exact same thing. To me, the freshman has to prove that he can hit that pitch. And at a plus count here, a 1-2 count, if I'm Seastruck, I'm calling that breaking ball, but I'm beating on the ground. You want to make sure that that ball's down and out of the zone so you don't give Matuk a chance.
There's Gibbs at first. Hit him. Bases loaded for LSU. I didn't think it caught him, but it did, according to the home plate umpire, Joe Burleson. And we'll see what Wayne Graham does here.
And they went to the breaking ball, but I don't really like where Seastruck set up on this pitch. It looked like he was setting up on the inside part of the plate. You do not want to throw the ball there. Your catcher in this spot, you want to get him all the way on the outside. Force your pitcher to look on the outside part of the plate, because the last thing you want to do is leave a breaking ball over the inside part of the plate. Now, you obviously don't want to hit the guy, but as a catcher, you want to really work that ball away. Now, you're in a world of trouble. Bases loaded here with 1 out for LSU.
Bases loaded for Sean Ochenko. When Blake Dean was struggling earlier this season, this guy carried the offense for LSU. He has a big opportunity here. Big cut, strike 1. This guy homered in 6 of 7 games from March 3rd to the 11th. And that was right when Blake Dean was having his troubles. Right now, he's got the bases loaded. LSU down 3. Tap foul. 2 strikes. Through March, his average was never below 415. Now, he's come back to earth since. I mean, he's hitting in the 330s now, but last week he was named to the regional all-tournament team, hit .500. Sean Ochenko has really been good the last couple of months for the Tigers. The 0-2. Nice play by Rendon. Steps on the bag for one. A run will score. But there you see, for a rookie, he's got a soft set of hands.
Pretty athletic play, too. I mean, he's playing about even with the bag, and this ball off the bat looked like it was going to get over the freshman's head at third, but a good first step, and that's the key to this play. When the ball goes up, it looks like it's over his head, but looks like an outfielder. Takes a little jab step over towards third base and makes the right decision. There is no reason to throw this ball. You're not going to turn two. The only thing that can happen is a bad thing, that ball to go over the first baseman's head. So the freshman not only making an athletic play, but makes the right decision and not try to throw this ball to first.
3-1 Rice. As there's one out for Jared Mitchell. Thought about it, lays off, strike one. Mitchell walked his first time up, and then when it was thrown out by Seastrunk trying to steal. In the dirt. And Seastrunk has been busy back there tonight.
Change up, the kind of tails down and away. Seastrunk just kind of, it's the inside part of the glove on this, and this is the one that a lot of times will bounce away from catchers because you try to glove it. It doesn't get into the web of that glove, it'll fire off one way or another.
Two and one. Junior right-hander Ryan Berry will start tomorrow for Rice. He also missed more than a month with a shoulder injury. It's been a tough year for the pitching staff injury-wise for Rice. Angela trying to work out of a jam here in the inning. 3-1 now to Jared Mitchell. Because his top two starters were out for the better part of 5 weeks, Wayne Graham has said that this has been one of the most nerve-wracking seasons of his career. Bit of a nerve-wracking situation here in the fourth. One run in for LSU. Swing and a miss, now 3-2.
Good ability to throw that changeup with 3-1 count. Guys on first and second. Talk about confidence for Ojala. I think at this point he's more confident in his off-speed stuff. I mean, the fastball almost looks like a show-me pitch, to where he shows it just to let him know that he still has it. But in the big spot so far today, he's either gone to that changeup primarily to left-handers or the breaking ball to right-handers.
Chop up the line. The first baseman, Camarada, tags him out, but they're going to say foul ball. The first base umpire, Bill Speck, real late on that call.
I don't think that's his call. I mean, in front of the base, that ought to be the home plate umpire's call. And you saw Joe Burleson, the home plate umpire, who kind of took his time on that. I mean, maybe he's blocked out. And if he's blocked out by the base runner, he can ask for help. But if that ball's in front of first base, that's his call. Bill Speck, the first base umpire, watches he goes down. And if the base runner blocks him out, which might have been the case right here, I mean, that ball's clearly foul, so I think it's the right call. Wayne Graham had to come out and at least ask. In a case like that, if the home plate umpire's blocked off, Bill Speck had a great look at it, the first base umpire. I mean, he's right on that, and they got it right, and that's the key. But most of the time, that ball's in front of first base. That's a home plate umpire's call. If he can't see it, though, and I think that was the case right there with Burleson, you can ask for help, and Bill Speck got it right. That's the goal. Just make sure you get it right, and they did right there.
Burleson is the crew chief this weekend. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Jared Mitchell. Popped up. Seastrunk spins around looking for it. We'll see if he has a play. Runs out of room as it clangs off the roof. You see that Seastrunk keeps that hair real short. And he told us that he cuts it that way because in 2007, during a celebration after the Super Regional, somebody cut his head open during the dog pile. So he cut it real short, and they needed to give him stitches, and he's kept it short ever since, maybe for good luck. Wow. Ojula battles through the inning, and LSU is held to just 1 in the 4th. So some confidence there for Rice. We'll talk with Paul Maneri next. We go to the 5th inning. Rice 3, LSU 1, and Paul Maneri, the head coach of the Tigers, in his 3rd year on the job, joins us now. And Coach, atypical of your team to commit so many errors early in the game. What did you tell your team to try and turn things around the rest of the way?
Well, we just need to relax. You know, we made a couple of really bad errors here. Obviously, the error on the rundown play really hurt us. You know, it was just one of those things. And of course, the ground ball got the inning started, and then we, on a pickoff throw to first, we lost it in the sun. So we just need to relax, calm down a little bit. There's still a lot of baseball to play.
Paul, how about offense? Ojula has really changed speeds well tonight. Offensively, what do you guys need to do at the plate?
Well, we need to make an adjustment. He hasn't thrown hardly any fastballs for strikes, and we keep swinging at change-ups and breaking balls out of the zone. He's got a good one, or good change-up and good breaking ball, but we just need to make an adjustment, see the ball better, and go the other way with it.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paul.
Head coach Paul Maneri, National Coach of the Year last year. 49 wins a season ago and a College World Series berth. They're at 49 wins right now. If a win tonight, get them to 50 for the first time since 2000, when the Tigers won 52 games and their 5th and last national title. Steven Schultzbaugh leads it off for Rice here in the 5th inning. Renato, a breaking ball, down and away, 1-1. You were really looking forward to seeing this guy pitch here tonight. What are your impressions of the Jackson, New Jersey native?
He's really good, and he's under control, which is tough for a big kid to do. What I've been impressed with is how simple the mechanics are. I think that's one of the things that they've really worked on this year. David Gruey, who came over from Michigan State, is now the pitching coach. And to me, Renato's mechanics are really refined. It's easy and clean. That's what you look for. It's tough with guys that are bigger because there's so many more moving parts. But he's a guy to me that should be a first-round pick next year. We've seen the fastball hover 90, 91, 92, right in that range. He hadn't really dialed it up. He can dial it up, though, and run it up 93, 94 at times.
Schultzbaugh puts a charge in it to left center. Going deep and gone. Home run. Steven Schultzbaugh with a leadoff home run here in the 5th inning, and it's 4-1 Rice.
You see on that swing the biggest difference today between Ojula and Renato, and that's the ability to throw off-speed pitches when you're down in a count. 3-1 count. You know, in this case, that Schultzbaugh is going to be looking fastball, and it's exactly what he got. In spots like this, doesn't matter how hard you throw. If a guy's looking fastball and it's down the middle, he's got a chance. The ball's a little bit elevated. It's right at belt high, but the key was the count. 3-1 count. Schultzbaugh looking fastball. It's exactly what he got. Over the course of this game, when Ojula's fell behind, the ability to throw the off-speed pitch in that count has really been key.
Steven Schultzbaugh with his 8th home run of the year. Junior college transfer who came to Rice from Weatherford College in North Texas. He was named as Conference Player of the Year last year. He has been great for Rice this year. Slow roller from Camarada. And LeMahieu throws him out for out number 1. We talked about Schultzbaugh and the hot bat he's been swinging through the Rice postseason. That's his 3rd home run in the NCAA tournament. And, you know, when you get a guy like that who can come right into the program and make a unique and distinct contribution, how much that helps.
Oh, and then, I mean, a kid that's playing center field. So, I mean, holding down, obviously, an extremely important position defensively for Rice. You can plug him into the 8-hole and get that kind of production out of him in the 8-hole.
Holt right back to Renato. And 2 down.
We talked to Wayne Graham yesterday when he was talking about Schultzbaugh. He said, man, he is really swinging a hot bat. I mean, it's one of the things as a coach that sometimes you're inclined to move a guy up in the order, but Schultzbaugh's been so good in that 8 spot for him that they kept him down there. Rick
Hague is 1 for 2 with a single. Also struck out back in the first. And that's something that Haig will do. He'll strike out a little bit. But Wayne Graham takes the good with the bad, and this guy has plenty of good, so he stays in the lineup in the number 2 spot. And what he has done tonight is so typical of what Rick Haig has done throughout the season. Single and a strikeout. Yeah. One good at bat, and then one where his swing is looping a little bit.
We saw him as a freshman last year down at Austin when Rice was playing Texas, and he was a guy that really jumped out at that point, because you usually don't see freshmen with the kind of power that Haig had at that point. What hasn't changed this year is those strikeouts, though. They're still there. So one thing he's going to have to cut down on.
2-1.
One thing to watch with Ronaldo mechanically, it looks like that elbow's dropping a little bit. His bottom half's dropping a little bit too. He's kind of pushing towards home plate. That's why you saw those 2 fastballs elevated in this at bat to Haig. He needs to stand just a little bit taller.
In on the hands, and this one goes back over the roof.
He was so good early. Watch the bottom half. It kind of breaks down and goes out towards home plate. He was standing a little bit taller earlier in the game. We see that bottom half break down. It's fine if you can still stay on top of the ball. What's made Ronaldo so good this year is the ability to sink it. And we talked with David Gruey earlier this week. He said the biggest difference really has just been moving that hand position around. He was kind of down to the side of the ball last year. They moved his fingers up on top of the ball, and that's what's allowed it to sink.
Right to the second baseman, LeMahieu knocks it down, has time. And Rice is done here in the 5th, but a solo home run by Steven Saltzbaugh makes it 4-1. We'll talk with Wayne Graham when we come back. Back in Baton Rouge, Rice 4, LSU 1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Wayne Graham is in his 18th year now as the head coach of Rice, and he joins us now. And Coach, your team has gotten some help from LSU, but also putting some pretty good swings on Anthony Ronaldo. What is your approach at the plate?
Well, he's very tough. We're trying to make the ball get down, not swing at the high fastball, and that's what you got to do, because upstairs he's really tough, throws hard and got a great angle. So sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but we're doing okay.
And how about the job that Ojula's done on the mound? We talked a little bit about that injury and how it's hampered him, but he has really thrown the changeup and a curveball well tonight. What have you seen from the side?
I think his changeup's been great. I hope he can keep hitting with it. I think he's done a great job for us so far, and he's just a quality pitcher.
All right, Coach Graham, we'll let you go.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you very much.
You see, 7-time conference coach of the year.
We got a chance to talk to him yesterday. He is a blast to talk to.
Is.
I mean, from a baseball standpoint.
There's going to be a leadoff extra base hit for Tyler Hanover. In sliding to second base. And this crowd just comes to life every time LSU does anything good.
Yeah, they're just waiting for something. You know, Hanover might be the freshman that gets overlooked a little bit. Nola's coming in such a good job defensively at short, and Matuk's done some incredible things in center, but this kid can really play the game. I know he made an error earlier today, but for a kid that's 5'6", to step into college baseball and swing the bat that he has, just saying something about competitiveness that Hanover has. Is, for the most part, played a real solid third base this year and will surprise you with the power sometimes at the plate.
And now Austin Nola. There's back-to-back freshmen here in the bottom part of the order, and he takes one right between the numbers. As Ojula slips with the curveball.
That's one that caught Nola right behind the numbers, and obviously the spot that they're trying to go inside, and this ball just slips out of Ojula's hands. And the one thing that you worry about with that injury is as the game goes on, you know that it's going to start to bother him more and more. And get the adrenaline pumping at the beginning of the game, and maybe you can forget about a little of that pain. But I mean, as that game goes on, you know that the pain's just going to keep coming in. Nowhere to go for Nola. And in a spot like that, you don't mind getting hit.
Second time that Ojula has hit a batter in 2 innings. So now first and second with nobody out for LSU as David Pierce, the Rice pitching coach, is out. Follow us on the Road to Omaha on Facebook and Twitter. Search ESPN College World Series on Facebook, and there's all kinds of stuff for you there. Then our own Kyle Peterson, a good partner, he's twittering. Tweeting, I guess, is the proper vernacular.
I like twittering better.
And you've got all the baseball storylines leading up through the College World Series. Here's the Rice bullpen. Evers and Reckling getting loose for the second straight inning.
I think they're going to be tight with Ojula. I mean, you look at a game like this, all right, they're up 4-1. He's really throwing the ball well. But with that injury, I mean, you never know when the feel's going to go away.
DJ LeMahieu lays off. 1 ball, no strikes.
And this is, I mean, we heard Palmineri talk about it just a minute ago as to, you know, we got to recognize the off speed and really try to take that ball the other way. To me, the key is how does he do the third time around? Because now all these guys have seen him twice. They've seen both off-speed pitches. They know that for the most part he's going to try to get him out with a breaking ball and a changeup. Now let's see how this offense reacts.
Our crowd has already seen a couple of balks called against Ojula tonight. He wanted to number 3 there. Tigers got 1 run last inning. They're set up for runs here in the 5th. 2 on, nobody out for DJ LeMahieu. 1-1. LeMahieu drafted by his hometown Detroit Tigers in the 41st round in 2007. And he is a draft eligible sophomore this year. Palmineri thinks he might be a top 3 round kind of guy.
This kid's got a lot of potential. Played shortstop for a lot of the year, moved over to second base.
Base hit. This should score Hanover easy. He'll come in, and it's 4-2 Rice as LSU is chipping away.
To me, now's the test for Ojula. LeMahieu starts the 3rd time around for this LSU order, and this is another off-speed pitch, but it's up in the zone, and LeMahieu recognizes it right away. A little breaking ball that hangs in the zone. The real good sliders today from Ojula have been buried down in the zone. This one stays up. Looked like LeMahieu was sitting on it then, too. They've seen everything. So they've seen that slider out of his hands. They've seen that changeup, and now let's see if they can start to recognize the off-speed pitches. Pretty good swing right there by LeMahieu.
39th run batted in for LeMahieu. Seastrunk goes back out to talk to Ojula as the bullpen continues to work for Wayne Graham. If Graham does go to the pen, who's likely to come out of there first, Evers or Reckling?
Well, they've switched it up now. Wall, the left-hander freshman, now is up and throwing. They sat Evers down, and Wall was the guy that was probably going to pitch in game 3, and so you can tell the approach from Wayne Graham.
This gets away. The runners will advance. Nola at 3rd now. LeMahieu in scoring position as well.
You know, we had talked about one of the things that Seastrunk's been struggling with, and that's blocking the ball. Watch this ball on the inside part of the play. Breaking balls are tough to block anyway, but you got to get both knees down. That right knee doesn't go all the way down. The left knee does, and watch where this ball hits. Right off that shin guard. You got to get both knees down because the goal is to have it hit you right in the chest protector. And if that shin guard stays up, if it hits it, it's going to fire off like it does right here, and there's no chance to keep that ball in front of you.
A ball and no strikes to Ryan Schimpf. Pulled foul. Palmineri said of Ryan Schimpf, I thought at the beginning of the season he was one of the country's most underrated players, and you know I still feel that way. His numbers aren't what you would expect of an underrated guy, but you have a team of all-stars like LSU does. He's kind of lost in the mix. Here comes Wayne Graham, and it looks like he's going to go to the left-hander.
Looks like they'll go to the freshman right here too, and these are the kind of moves that you see veteran coaches make. He just saw something he didn't like right there with Ojula. Even with a 1-1 count, he's going to make the move and go to the bullpen.
Taylor Wall coming on for Rice. We'll talk about him when we come back. LSU down 2, but they've cut Rice's lead in half here in the bottom of the 5th. They've got 2 on and still nobody out. They have chased the starter Mike Ojula, and here comes the lefty Taylor Wall.
Freshman Taylor Wall's had a really good season for Rice, but for the most part he's been a starter. Of all of his appearances this year, just 2 have come out of the bullpen. What it shows you right now is Wayne Graham saying we want to win game 1. This is the guy that would have started game 3 if there was one. there is one for Rice. Now this probably takes him out of the equation, but if you're Wayne Graham, you're saying, hey, it's more important to win game 1. We'll worry about game 3 if we have to get there. In this case, he likes the left-handers matchup right here.
He inherits a 1-ball-and-1-strike count to Ryan Schimpf as you look at his season numbers.
Just 80 hits in 94 innings for a freshman who, for the most part, has been a game 3 starter. Moved up in the rotation when Ojala and Berry were hurt kind of mid-season, but he's pitched on the weekend all year.
Schimpf was a strikeout victim twice to Ojala. Now he faces Wall. Down. 2 balls and a strike. What's your philosophy on a coach making a pitching change during an at-bat?
Well, I like it because I think he saw something. If I'm Wayne Graham and I'm sitting there, I see the swings that have happened this inning. I mean, namely for LeMahieu, who comes up and sees him for the 3rd time around, and you know that this LSU team is going to start sitting off speed. So I think it was time to get a different look in there.
Hit well to right center field. Going back is Soltzbaugh, looking up and gone. 3-run home run for Ryan Schimpf. And LSU has taken the lead 5-4.
That definite look in this case was a fastball that was elevated just a little bit too much from Wall, and the job that Schimpf does, you got to play the percentages, and I like the play. The problem is you can't control what happens, and in this case it's a fastball that just ends up in the wrong spot. How about Schimpf? 19 home runs, and the kid's hitting second for you.
Base hit here for Blake Dean as the inning continues to go south for Rice.
I think right now, though, if I'm Wayne Graham, I take him out. Because if you go to game 3, you're going to need him as a starter. What he did so far today, you're still okay to bring him back in 2 days if you got to start him. But I think I'd get Wall out of there in a hurry, because what you don't want to do is burn him. Then if you go to a game 3, you're really in a hole. He hasn't thrown that many pitches yet. You got 2 guys that are heated up in the pen. I don't think they're going to let Wall go very long now that they've lost the lead.
Still nobody out, and Micah Gibbs to hit as Reckling gets back up. He joins Evers, another left-hander. Cut there, swing and a miss from Micah Gibbs. 1 for 2 with a single tonight. 6 hits now for LSU. 4 of them coming in this inning. Bunt, and it's a good one. Wall took a look at second, but he only had 1 play. And that's the first out for LSU.
We talk about all the different things that Micah Gibbs can do, but you ask your 4-hole hitter in a game where you're up 1 run to lay a bunt down, and Gibbs lays an absolutely perfect bunt down. Switch any catcher can really catch and throw, but I'm really impressed with what he could do right there, because you know that a kid hitting 4th for LSU isn't asked to bunt very often, but that time he got a perfect one down.
Here's Matuk now, 0 for 1. He's hit by a pitch last inning. Takes ball 1 here. You know, we talked about it before. We have 2 switch hitting catchers in the game today. I mean, how rare is that?
And what do you think of the big leagues? I think Veritek's the only guy that does it in the big leagues. What did Paul Maneri say yesterday that Gibbs is the only one he's ever had?
Yeah.
Only switch hitting catcher that he's ever had. Now we've got 2 in this game. Seastrunk, who was a 3rd baseman until this year, but talk about Wade Graham's move, getting Seastrunk back behind the plate. But now a switch hitting catcher with that kind of arm, he's going to have a chance to play some pro ball.
Down and into Matuk.
Because you can teach him the other things. I mean, over time, he's going to learn to block the ball better. He's going to be a better receiver. You got to understand, he hasn't been back there but 8 months. Those kind of things take a long time to build.
Toward the hole and through. We'll see if they'll try to score Dean. No, Javi Sanchez will put on the brakes there for Dean. Runners at the corners. The inning continues for LSU with 1 out.
Good base runner right there by Blake Dean to make sure that this ball gets through. He freezes on it. You're going to see him in a background right here. The minute that ball's hit, you saw him freeze just for a minute to make sure that the ball get past the third baseman, Rendon. The last thing you want to do is run into that second out over at third base. Froze, made sure it got through. In that case, he couldn't score, but now LSU with runners on first and third with one out.
And Wayne Graham will make the slow walk to the mound.
I think they're going to take him out right here. I mean, I think the decision is, do we go the rest of the way with a freshman, or do we pull him out and still have a chance to bring him back game 3?
It's Matthew Reckling. He'll be the third pitcher for Rice, the second this inning.
Brian Burr, Will Kimmy, checking out the family of networks, Rice and LSU. Will, Rice had an early lead, but LSU is stormed back.
Hey, LSU always can come from behind at home and hit the home run, and they've done just that with Ryan Schimpf. Out in Arkansas, Mike Bolsinger throwing great in relief after the rain.
And Arkansas leading Florida State 7-2 in the 8th inning.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. There you see Mr. Schimpf. You know, a 3-run home run will make you forget about 3 errors pretty quickly, and that's what's happened here for the Tigers in the 5th inning, as they have chased Ojala from the game, and now Taylor Wall is gone for Matthew Reckling, another rookie, to pitch here for Rice. He's a right-hander.
Freshman who played a key role for Rice last weekend. They had a battle through the losers bracket in their own regional. Reckling, some big innings for Rice. Going to beat K-State twice in advance to this point.
Bluff to first. He's facing Shanochenko with 1 out. Now Taylor Wall is out, and you talked about keeping an eye on his pitch count. He only threw 12, so likely he's still in line for his start in game 3 if it goes that far.
Yeah, I think it's what you have to do. I mean, to me, the decision is, do we take him the rest of the way? Because then you save your entire bullpen, and you got a lot of guys ready if you do have to go to a game 3, or do we take him out and have him ready if we need to? Obviously, the key is, I mean, we got a lot of game left today, but the key is you got to get to a game 3. I tell you what, this LSU offense has come alive this inning. Some real good swings to start the inning off of Ojala. And Schimpf hits one out of sight to right center.
To right field, drifting and out of play as Chad Mazingo gave it a good look. So ball and a strike to Ochenko. Before we talked about how he's probably as good of a catcher as you'll find in the SEC, but rarely plays back there because of Micah Gibbs.
Gibbs has been so good. Last year they kind of split time, and Gibbs took it over a little bit towards the end of the season. This year Gibbs has kind of been the main guy behind the plate.
Breaking ball down the line and fair. Dean will score. Being waved around is Matuk. He'll score, and LSU tacks on 2 more. It is 7-4.
Sort of breaking ball that's going to catch a little bit too much of the plate. Pretty good swing by Ochenko, though. That's not a bad pitch. I mean, it's down at his zone. That's just a good swing. It's ripped past Rendon, the freshman at third. Second big hit that LSU's had just inside the bag down the left field line. After that offense had been stifled in the first 4 innings, now 6 runs in the 5th to jump ahead 7-4.
That's in to Jared Mitchell. It's going to get all the way to the backstop. And now Ochenko's at third. With the departure of relief aces Cole St. Clair and Bobby Bell last year, the bullpen was a question mark coming into the year. It's been a little inconsistent. Still, they've put up some decent numbers, but here in the 5th inning, LSU has gotten to the Rice pen as we've got a conference now between all 4 umpires.
Ball went all the way to the backstop, and I think that Diego Seastrunk was saying that it was a foul ball. You saw Mitchell kind of start his hands right there, and the ball that was up and in, and Seastrunk hardly got a glove on it. Went flying right by him. They're going to send it back, so it was a foul ball. I think it caught the knob of the bat. Paul Maneri, I'm sure right here is saying, well, if you can't see it back behind home plate, how can they see it out there? But I mean, watch the knob of the bat. Watch where it goes. See his hands start to come down right there. Well, it even got it behind it now. That was the right call. It got him about right where the tape is on his bat. Watch that. Hands start to go forward. Now watch where the tape ends up on the bat. You see the ball change direction. A bit easier to see from center field. When that ball comes in, you see it shoot right under the glove of Seastrunk back by no plate, and that was a right call. So if you can't hear it back by no plate, it's tough to see it. And that, I think, is usually what the home plate umpire's looking for. Joe Burleson's a good one. Worked College World Series a lot. If you can't hear it back there, that ball's moving so fast, it's tough to see it. But again, they get everybody together, and they got it right.
2 strikes to Jared Mitchell. Even tougher to hear, I'm sure, if it's a composite bat as opposed to an aluminum bat. And we're seeing more and more composite bats.
A little different sound. I mean, the metal bat, you hear the ping that we're so used to hearing in Omaha. The composite bat sounds a little bit more like a wood bat.
Mitchell a walk and a strikeout tonight. He's up there with 2 strikes, 1 out for LSU. They have had a big inning here in the 5th. 6 runs have scored. Mitchell, the 9th man to come to the plate for LSU here in the 5th. This is the inning the Tigers were looking for. Up to that point, you know, Mike Ojala had done a nice job keeping this Tiger offense, which is so potent, in check.
He did, and I think you could really see. I mean, Ojala just without the ability to control the fastball, and he did. He just could not command the fastball and get ahead of these LSU hitters. It was only a matter of time to where they start to adjust to that off-speed pitch, and that's why they got him out.
Reckling misses outside, so it's 2-2. Reckling is the grandson of T.R. Reckling. The Rice Ballpark in Houston is named Reckling Park. It's named after him. So he's probably got a key to the place. Hit well to center. Soltzbach has it. Trying to tag here is Ochinko. He's going to go for it. The throw is going to be late. 2 outs. On the road to Omaha, and the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals continue on ESPN tonight as Louisville takes on Cal State Fullerton. It's the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented on ESPN by Capital One. That's later tonight on ESPN2 at 10:30 Eastern. Louisville and Cal State Fullerton. You talk about an interesting matchup. 2 different styles. You got the free swinging Cardinals, and you got the small ball, well-coached Cal State Fullerton team that really knows how to pitch.
Well, and I tell you what, too, you've got an LSU team that played Omaha, or a Louisville team that played Omaha 2 years ago. I mean, so a team that's used to playing in this style. Justin Marks, who they should start tonight, the left-hander, pitched in Omaha 2 years ago as a freshman. So you got a guy in a mound that has a lot of experience. Granted, they have to go on the road, but don't count Louisville out in that one. That's a pretty experienced bunch. Watch Chris Dominguez, their third baseman, with about as much power as anybody in the country.
2-0 here to Tyler Hanover. He got the inning started with a leadoff double as LSU is batted around here in the 5th. You know, Hanover, he's listed at 5'6", but the rest of the Tigers will tell you, you know, he's lucky if he's 5'5". Like you said, I mean, he swings a big bat for a guy that size.
We watched him take BP yesterday, and the ball jumps off his bat. I mean, for a kid that size and a freshman, you would think that he's kind of a guy that'll slap it around and go the other way, but he's looking to elevate that ball to left field.
Walked him. Matthew Reckling, the 3rd pitcher to work in this inning for Rice, and he's having trouble just like the other 2. And Wayne Graham talking to himself over there in the Rice dugout.
He's surprised if he comes to get him right now. Nola, the 9-hole hitter, and then you try to get Reckling to get you through this inning and then make a decision whether you want to go to the bullpen. Evers, a left-hander, you would assume is ready.
Austin Nola takes strike 1. Gatorade Player of the Year last year in the state of Louisiana, Austin Nola, from right here in Baton Rouge. Since he has become a starter, LSU is 21-4 with him at shortstop. And now more activity in the Rice bullpen. I guess this inning it's never really stopped.
It's just kind of rotated. Two guys have come in, and now Haynes up and throwing for the first time.
Ball and two strikes to Austin Nola. 1-for-1. Hit by a pitch this inning and scored a run. Runners at the corners. Still 2 out for LSU. Got him. So Reckling gets out of the inning, but a big inning for LSU. They score 6 times. The big blow coming from Ryan Schimpf. A 3-run shot. LSU has committed 3 errors tonight, but this will make you forget about it in a hurry. A 3-run blow. It's 7-4 Tigers. This is what you love about Baton Rouge, the food. And you're watching ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals, presented by Capital One.
That's where we're going tomorrow now. We didn't get down there today, but we're going to go down there tomorrow pregame. We can fire up some food here in Baton Rouge.
New third baseman for the Tigers. Derek Helenihi coming in at third base for defensive reasons.
Guy that started a lot at third base this year. I mean, they've kind of moved he and the freshman back and forth. And now if you're Paul Maneri, you've got the lead going into the 6th inning. Now you can start to play a little bit more of a defensive lineup, and that's why you see Helenihi coming in.
Diego Seastrunk, the number 3 hitter for Rice, will lead it off in the 6th as Anthony Renato pitches with the lead for the first time tonight. Seastrunk is 0 for 2 with a couple of flyouts to center. And this one is headed out of play, and it's going to twist out of here foul. You know, Seastrunk's numbers are down a little bit at the plate this year, but you know, that's, I guess, to be expected with all that's on his plate with the new job as a catcher.
Not only is he having to learn a new position behind the plate, but we talked about this earlier. Rice, unlike most teams around the country in college baseball, ask their catchers to call the game. So now, I mean, his mind has to be in each and every pitch over the course of the ball game.
For the 3rd time tonight to center. And for the 3rd time tonight, Seastrunk is retired. A little more on Anthony Renato with our campus connection. Sophomore from Jackson, New Jersey. Holding opponents to a .211 batting average this year. He has had a great sophomore season. And we talked about his stature before, 6'7", 232. Gives him a lot of leverage coming off the mound. Anthony Rendon has been on a couple of times tonight. Scored a couple of runs. He hits here for Rice. As you see the line on Anthony Renato. He really found his confidence last fall. You were talking about it earlier. He has really drummed up quite a relationship with the new pitching coach, David Gruey.
I think it's interesting, too. I mean, David Gruey was the head coach at Michigan State and left Michigan State, a head coaching job, to come down here to LSU and be the pitching coach and the associate head coach. Here, Paul Maneri were together at Notre Dame. Comes down and just get the opportunity to come down and be in this program. Gruey takes advantage of it. He's made a big difference in Renato.
Tying in 1-2.
Yeah, but I mean, part of it too was Renato wasn't 100% a lot of the year last year, so he couldn't really get in the groove as he could this year. Threw the ball pretty well last summer, kind of springboarded him into the fall. What you've seen as a kid that's really been able to control the fastball, keep the fastball down in the zone with sink, and pitch off of that.
And Gruey has done some excellent things in a short period of time. LSU coming into tonight with an ERA of 4.01, 9th best in the nation. And Gruey deserves some of the credit for that.
Oh, absolutely. Deserves a lot of credit for that.
Ball and 2 strikes to Rendon. Another thing about Rendon that you notice, he's very calm in the field, at the plate. Has a very relaxed demeanor about him, and again, just a freshman. Wouldn't expect that. Laces one into left field. That's his 2nd hit here tonight.
He can really hit. Can really hit. I mean, you just see the different at-bats and the things that he's done. The first time up, takes a fastball inside, kind of inside outs it, but hits it into the gap in right center field. This time, decent little breaking ball. I mean, catches a little bit too much of the plate, but the key is all the weight's back. I mean, it's a swing almost like he knew what was coming. And you're right. I mean, the approach is a real advanced approach. What you see right there is what we saw yesterday, and I think you're going to see every time he's on the field. Kid smiles all the time. I mean, he's happy and comfortable when he's at the plate. That's why he's so relaxed up there.
Mozingo gets it down. One play for the pitcher, Renato. Good sacrifice there for Chad Mozingo. As Rendon is now at second with 2 outs.
I think in this case, too, Mozingo's trying to get this ball down the third base line and bunt for a hit. When you're down 3 at this point, I mean, if you're going to bunt, I've got no problem with him bunting, but to me, I think you want to err on a ball going foul in this case as opposed to an error going back to the pitcher, because Mozingo's trying to beat it out. That one, the minute it's a one-hopper back to the pitcher, even with Mozingo's speed, and it's good speed, most of the time they're going to throw you out.
Now Michael Fuda coming to the plate for the Owls. Renato starts him with a nice breaking ball. Lands in there for strike 1. Seems like Renato's stuff has gotten sharper as the game has worn on.
One of the things I've been most impressed with is the kid doesn't really try to overthrow. I mean, everything seems like it's really under control. I mean, he's pitched in some big games. He got the last out of the Super Regional last year for LSU, so obviously he's pitched in some big spots. But look at the number of strikes to balls. I mean, over 2-1 so far. Strikes to balls to Renato. But even in spots like this, when the crowd gets going and you know that the adrenaline's pumping, I've been impressed with how controlled he's been out there on the mound. His team makes 3 errors behind him. He's still throwing strikes.
One and 2 now to Fuda.
That's been the only pitch that he's really started to overthrow a little bit, is the breaking ball. Seen some times that breaking ball has stayed up and into the right-hander, and all that is the front side's clearing just a little bit too fast. Your arm lags behind, and that ball just kind of shoots up and out. Sometimes you're trying to throw that breaking ball just a little bit too hard.
Got him. Strikeout number 7 for Anthony Renato. LSU has the lead, 7-4. For LSU as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning at the new Alec Box Stadium. Alongside Kyle Peterson, former 3-time All-American right-hander at Stanford, I'm Clay Matvick. This is the Super Regional in Baton Rouge, presented by Capital One. And it kind of does feel like a holiday this time of the year. You know, for those college baseball fans, when you get to the Supers, that Omaha's right around the corner, every day's like a holiday.
You know what's great, too? I mean, this ballpark's beautiful, but the night. Yeah. You get a night like this time of the year, it is comfortable. It is a perfect night for baseball.
LSU sent 11 to the plate last inning. DJ LeMahieu will lead off here for the Tigers. LeMahieu had an RBI single his last time up. Sends this one foul. Ball and a strike.
I really think this kid's going to flourish when he gets into pro ball. He was a guy at the beginning of the year that we're talking about as kind of a back end of the first round guy. That's probably dropped a little bit. I mean, he might be a sandwich guy, could fall as far as 2nd or 3rd round. And I think the ability to put some weight on him. LeMahieu's a guy that's got a chance to play some pro ball.
6'4", 193. You don't see many second basemen in college baseball with that height.
No, and the frame shows you that he can put some weight on. I mean, he could put 20, 25 pounds on pretty easily, and you're going to see the power continue to grow up. He's got a lot of things you can't teach. Great hands and size.
Now it's 2-2.
We talked earlier about him being a draft eligible sophomore. The draft rules are if you're 21 years old within 45 days of the draft, which LeMahieu is, you're eligible. For most guys, it's after your junior year, but there's guys like LeMahieu that if they turn 21 a little bit earlier, in this case within 45 days of the draft, then you're eligible. For everybody else, you have to stay in college 3 years, be a junior.
The move to second base for DJ was unexpected, but he even admits that LSU's been better for it. And I guess that says something about, you know, his character and his make, and that's got to help him in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that, well, he's a kid that can play more than one position, and
he walks here.
I think that's probably the position he's going to play at the next level. He didn't project as a shortstop. I mean, he's just a little bit too big. Probably didn't have the range that you need out there, but he can project as a second baseman, and that helps because from a scout standpoint, you want to see the way he moves over there. How does he handle the ball in the hole? He's really made a great adjustment for a kid that had never played the position, never played second base until this year. It's been pretty good the last 20 games.
That's the second walk allowed by Matthew Reckling since being called on last inning, and now he's got to deal with Ryan Schimpf, who rode one out of here for a 3-run shot and put LSU ahead for the first time. His 19th home run on the year, which leads LSU. Matt Clark was the guy last year that was the big home run threat. He hit 28 last year, and sure there was a lot of concern how they were going to replace him, but a couple of guys have done a nice job doing that. Blake Dean keeping his bat going even though he started out slow, and this guy producing maybe more in the power category than they might have thought.
And what's amazing is, and I mean, Paul Maneri hinted at it yesterday, is just how underrated Schimpf is. We talk about other guys in this lineup a lot more.
Runner goes toward the gap. LeMahieu headed for third. He'll try to score. Now going to third is Schimpf. Here comes the throw and hit him. He's in. RBI triple for Ryan Schimpf as he continues to have an outstanding night. It's 8-4 Tigers.
The fact that LeMahieu's in motion right here changed the entire course of this at bat. The ball goes in the gap, but if LeMahieu's not running, they probably don't try to score him on this ball. Suchball bobbled it a little bit out in right center field, but LeMahieu was off and running, allows him to score easily. How about the at-bats that Schimpf has had tonight? Starts with a couple strikeouts, then starts to make adjustments and has hammered 2 balls to that gap. One that carried out and this one in the gap. But again, misplayed just a little bit by Soltzbaugh. And here Schimpf kind of gets lucky. If that throws on line, he's out at third base. But the fact that Paul Maneri put LeMahieu in motion allows him to score a run. Change this inning.
Schimpf hit .462 with 3 doubles, a home run, and 3 RBI in the regional, and he continues his great postseason play. He has driven in 4 runs tonight as Wayne Graham goes to the pen for the 4th time. 8-4 LSU.
Ryan Burr, Will Kimmey in studio. It is a final from Tallahassee. Took long enough to get there, but finally, game started at noon. Arkansas wins game 1 of this series 7-2.
Battle of the bullpens with both starters out after 4. Great performance by Mike Bolsinger from Arkansas tonight.
And Stuart Tapley goes 2 for 5 with an RBI for the Seminoles. Look to even that series up. Game 2 tomorrow. Just a reminder, coming up 10:30 ESPN 2, it's Louisville and Cal State Fullerton. Guys.
All right, gentlemen, good start to this Super Regional Day for the SEC.
Ole Miss comes back, scores 1 in the 9th, and then a walk-off home run by Matt Smith to win it. Game 1 against UVA, and Arkansas goes on the road and beats a Florida State team that looked like world beaters last weekend.
Matthew Reckling is out. And a new pitcher on for Rice. It's Matt Evers, their left-hander for Wayne Graham. And first pitch is fouled off for Blake Dean. There you see the numbers on Evers.
Struggled a little bit this year, and surprising too, because last year as a freshman had an ERA right around 3. One of the top guys out of the bullpen as a freshman, but this year's kind of backed up. Biggest thing that sticks out, 32 walks in 45 innings. That's too many base runs.
Ball and a strike to Dean. Dean a strikeout, a walk, and a single, and a couple of runs scored. High and deep. But in the ballpark. Sulzbaum makes the catch. Schimpf is going to score, and it's now 9-4 LSU. It's an RBI sacrifice fly for Blake Dean. That's his 65th run batted in this year.
Perfect guy for LSU to come up in this spot, too, because Dean's a guy that looks to get it elevated every time he's at the plate. This time doesn't get enough of it to ride it out, but plenty deep enough. Sulzbaum caught that ball probably 4 steps in front of the track.
First out for LSU here in the 6th, as they've put up 2 more here this inning after 6 last inning. And things have changed drastically here in the last 45 minutes to an hour for Rice.
What's incredible is how they were just cruising. And Ojala had been so good on the mound, and LSU had made 3 errors. Looked like the game was kind of going to stay on that Rice side. 6 runs in the 5th changed it.
Micah Gibbs up there now. It's a ball and a strike. Gibbs laid down a sacrifice bunt his last time up. There's so much talent in this LSU order.
Oh, there's so much talent on that bench. I mean, Leon Landry, a guy that we saw last year when we were down there in the Super Regional, a really talented outfielder. Played a big role in LSU's run last year. Hadn't even played tonight.
Right field corner, well foul.
Pretty good problem if you're Pulmonary to have. I mean, we were talking to him yesterday. I mean, he's got 11 or 12 starters. Of course, you don't only start 9, but you can bring a guy like Landry off the bench from a defensive standpoint if you need to. Schimpf, a guy who was a good second baseman last year, has been adequate in left field, but offensively has been unbelievable.
He's going to stay foul. 2-2. LSU was ranked 1 or 2 in almost every poll to start the season. It's because of that. They had so much depth, not only in the pitching staff, but throughout the entire roster. But the thing that happens when you're 1 or 2 to start the year, you got a target on your back. And they took every team's best shot throughout the year. 49 wins coming into tonight. It's going to be a strikeout as Micah Gibbs goes down. Out number 2. First strikeout for Evers.
Well, Pulmonary's club, too, has won in a lot of different ways. I mean, they showed in the SEC tournament they can fight back from the losers. They lost game 1, came back, had to beat Georgia twice, pounded them in game 1, and then beat them in a pitcher's duel in game 2. They win the SEC regular season. They win the SEC tournament. They've shown this is one of the top teams in the country. But again, to me, the difference is on the mound. I mean, Renato was a guy last year that was kind of a back end of the bullpen guy, didn't pitch much. Lewis Coleman has been unbelievable as a 2-starter. Expect to see him tomorrow. And Mattiot, the freshman, kind of came out of nowhere. He breaks the single season saves record here at LSU that had stood for 19 years.
There's a chance that, you know, we would see Coleman tonight. They have used Lewis Coleman in relief situations at times and still kept him, you know, kept his pitch count in check so that they could use him later in a series. I think that was the situation tonight, but they may not need him here tonight.
No, I would think at this point, I mean, unless it gets back to where it's a 1 or a 2-run game, that Coleman's probably going to be relegated to the doing the pitching chart the rest of the game and not having to worry about going down and pitching. That's, you know, if you're LSU, ideally the way you'd like it. Keep him fresh and ready to go game 2.
Matuk sprays it foul. Look out over there. Over the camera wall. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mikey Matuk, another rookie who has done such a great job here in his freshman season. Plays baseball kind of with a football mentality, according to Coach Paul Maneri. Football team here at LSU wanted him to walk on. Check this swing. It's going to roll out to short. Haig's got a tough play on the run. Got him. So Evers does his job, gets 3 straight outs. But big inning again for LSU. They lead it by 5.
The Lakers defended their home court advantage in Game 1. Now Kobe Bryant just 3 wins from a 4th ring. But the Magic have thrived in the underdog role throughout the playoffs. And Dwight Howard's team knows how to fight back. It's Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Coverage begins Sunday at 7:30 Eastern on ABC.
Now, if the Lakers can take that one, they're really in the driver's seat as we're back here in Baton Rouge, the capital city of Louisiana. And the Tigers on top by 5 as we head to the 7th inning. Alongside Kyle Peterson, I'm Clay Matvick. There is an impressive number, 43-0 when leading after 6 innings. That is a testament to the bullpen. It's a testament to the offense. And it's a testament to Paul Mainieri, the head coach.
And a testament to their late inning defense. I mean, we saw Helenihi come in at third base. One of those reasons is because of how good he's been defensively. Man's got a pretty good baseball team this year. And 3 freshmen that have stepped in and really done quite a job. I mean, for a team that returned a lot of starters from last year, the freshmen have played a big role.
Pinch hitter for Rice, it's Jess Binger. Switch hitting senior who transferred to Rice after starting his career at Texas A&M. He's been with the Owls the last 3 seasons. And coming out is Micah Gibbs to talk to Anthony Renato. He has looked very good here tonight. He's working now in the 7th. Renato was the MVP of last week's regional here in Baton Rouge. Had a terrific outing against Baylor. Had 14 strikeouts in that game. 1 earned run over 9 in a 3-2 win for LSU. And Paul Mainieri is getting real good stuff from him again tonight. Now it's 2-1 to Binger.
Just over 100 pitches right now. That is 101st of the ball game, and Renato still looks pretty comfortable out there.
Tailing away from Matuk. Diving catch. Mikey Matuk leaves his feet for out number 1. We have seen this time and time again from the outfielders here at LSU.
Talked about how athletic Matuk is in the outfield. Look at the freshman. You got to understand, too, this is a left-handed hitter, so the ball's tailing away from him. You see the adjustment he had to make right at the end, just a little bit deep. Takes 1 step in. Renato's fire up, little tip of the hat. I don't blame you. The center fielder makes a play like that. I think that deserves a tip of the cap.
Leon Landry is not in the lineup tonight for LSU. Made 2 outstanding catches in last year's Super Regional for the Tigers. That 3-game series win over Irvine. We've seen Jared Mitchell make some outstanding plays for LSU in recent years here. I mean, the outfield play for the Tigers has been stellar in postseason play the last couple of seasons.
Saw Landry and Mitchell last year were SportsCenter top 10 plays. I've got a feeling that the freshman Matuk might find himself on SportsCenter tonight.
There's Leon Landry.
He could really defend. I mean, he was as aggressive a center fielder defensively as we've seen, and that's how good this LSU team is. He's not even starting now.
Soltzbaugh goes down looking. That is strikeout number 8. 2 outs. Let's go back to last year. Leon Landry against Irvine. And you're right, this was all over SportsCenter.
Watch him go get this thing. I mean, that was gone. Fence a little bit different, not quite as forgiving as it is at new Alex Box. And then he goes airborne in the gap in left center, goes head over heels and comes up. But that was on back-to-back nights.
Camarada hits here with 2 outs. You know, it's been an up-and-down season for Landry. Last year was the starting center fielder. Started the season at center this year. Had a great first 2 weeks. He had 8 home runs in the first couple of weeks. Then his swing kind of got away from him. What a catch there by LeMahieu. Anthony Renato applauding his defense as he comes off.
Doesn't hurt to have a 6'4" second baseman on a play like this. LeMahieu moved from short to second earlier in the season. It pays off right here.
Tigers lead it 9-4 in Baton Rouge. College World Series returns to Omaha. The action begins Saturday, June 13th at 2 o'clock Eastern, live on ESPN HD. For more information on the College World Series, go to ncaa.com. Anthony Renato getting some great defensive help last inning. The Tigers leading here as they hit the bottom of the 7th. 9-4 LSU. Rice at 1 point had a 3-0 lead in this game. Shanochenko to lead it off for the Tigers. Alongside Kyle Peterson, I'm Clay Matvick. And, you know, now as the game is wearing on here, how does Paul Mainieri try to set things up with his bullpen? How long does he go with Anthony Renato?
I think you'll definitely see him go back out. I mean, just 108 pitches so far for Renato, so a chance that he could finish this one off. I think it'd have to be a quick 8th inning and then a quick 9th inning for him to stay out there. I'd be surprised if he gets up to 130 pitchers or so. I'd be surprised if he stays out there, but at 108 through 7, I'd be shocked if he doesn't go back out for the 8th.
Meanwhile, Rice has gone to the bullpen 3 times, and Jordan Rogers now has gone to the bullpen to warm up for the first time tonight.
It's been the closer for most of the year for this Rice team, and if you're Wayne Graham, might not be a bad idea to get him out there, even down 5. You know, if he comes in and just throws 1 inning, it's to be live for tomorrow night. And a lot of guys that come out of the bullpen like to throw back-to-back days, so you have the advantage of getting Rogers in this situation, so a little bit comfortable with the mound, give him the ability to heat up today. Most of those bullpen guys would rather heat up. Sometimes their stuff's better the next day.
Evers, the left-hander, did a pretty nice job after getting the call last inning. He got 3 straight outs to end the inning. Evers leads Rice in appearances and struggling a little bit the last few weeks, so I'm sure Rice is happy to see him pitching well so far tonight. 2-2 to Ochenko. It's down 3-2. Evers' last appearance was May 30th against Kansas State in the regional. It was a tough one. He gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Again, we've talked about it before. How much did Kansas State change the complexion of the Big 12 this year? Got him. Strikeout number 1 for Evers this inning. Let's go to Ryan Burr for a Sports Center right now.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. With 10 days to go before an appearance in Manhattan criminal court, the attorney for Plexico Burr is working behind the scenes to find a negotiation settlement that would allow Burris to play football in the NFL in 2009. French Open, Roger Federer will face Robin Soderling in the French Open finals. That's on Sunday. Both guys advance to the finals today. Sports Center, 11 p.m., ESPN.
Okay, Ryan, thank you very much. Ochenko strikes out, 1 down for LSU here in the 7th. They have scored in each of the last 3 innings. They got 1 in the 4th, 6 in the 5th, and 2 more in the 6th inning. 9 runs on 9 hits for LSU, and they've come from behind to take the lead here in Game 1 of this Super Regional. Mitchell is 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. Mitchell, the 5th wide receiver for the football team. As we talked about before, it has become apparent that Mitchell's best shot at playing pro sports is probably in baseball, so he has concentrated more on that this year, and the Tigers have benefited from him being with the team all spring. He did not participate in spring practice with Les Miles and the football Tigers.
And you've seen it, just how far advanced he's been on the baseball field.
3-2 now to Mitchell.
Still strikes out a lot. Had 50 strikeouts coming into this game and struck out once today, but struck out 58 times, but he walked 50 times. So that's what you like to see.
How about that? I mean, if Jared Mitchell is able to get back to Omaha with the Tigers and win a championship this year, he will have played on a national championship football team, because he caught 13 passes in 07 when the Tigers won the crown that year in football, and he'd win a baseball championship too. He strikes out here. Back-to-back strikeouts for Evers. He's got 3 so far tonight. Let's take a look at our Coke Zero game track. And again, Rice jumped out to the early lead, but it's LSU since the 4th inning.
Schimpf really had the game changer. That home run gave LSU the lead. At that point, it was 5-4. They tacked 4 more on. Ochenko, a big part of that with 3 RBIs. But Renato is just, as the game has gone on, has been stronger and stronger.
Back up the middle, base hit for LSU, as Helenihi is aboard with 2 outs. Derek Helene, he came into the game to play third defensively. And his first plate appearance gets hit number 10 for the Tigers. And Austin Nola will hit. Pulled foul, 2 strikes to Nola. Last year, Paul Mainieri made similar moves about 40 games into the year, and they went on that tear, winning 23 games in a row. Similar to the moves that he made this year, specifically, though, putting Austin Nola at short. And again, since taking over at shortstop, the Tigers have gone 25 games with just 4 losses. So, you know, obviously things have gone the right way. He's pushed the right buttons. But you got to really tip your hat to Paul Mainieri's hunches the last couple of years.
Hunches and guts, too. I mean, because that was a pretty good team 40 games into the year. Now, I mean, obviously there was some things that could have done better, namely defended, and that's what's really changed. But when you've got a team as talented as it is and a team that went to Omaha last year, it takes some guts to change some things up like he did when he did, especially when you've got an all-freshman left side of the infield from that point on.
Evers has looked pretty good since coming on. There's another strikeout, and LSU is done here in the 7th. So for the first time in 4 innings, they don't score a run, but they still lead 9-4. ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals, presented by Capital One. A U.S. World Cup qualifier coming your way. Saturday night on ESPN is Landon Donovan and Team USA take on Honduras. A qualifier on ESPN Saturday at 8 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Anthony Renato going to the mound for LSU here in the 8th. What a night for Mr. Renato. 8 strikeouts so far. He has not walked a Rice hitter. He came into the game with 138 strikeouts, which led the SEC. And he has been impressive. He has given his team a chance to win this game. They were down early. The offense finally heated up, and now he's in a position to win this game. First pitch to Brock Holt is outside as he leads off for Rice.
But to me, a sign of experience on the mound is a guy that doesn't panic when you're in the spot like he was early in this game. I mean, Renato had thrown the ball well the entire time. The problem really had been his defense. I mean, they make 3 errors, leads to 300 runs to start. Then Soltzbaugh hits a ball out of sight, and it's 4-1. But he didn't change anything. Still attack with a fastball. And that's the biggest thing he's done tonight is throw strike 1 with that fastball.
1-2 now to Holt. You saw the pitch count. It's at 131 now. So is this likely his last inning?
It's 113 now. Started the inning at 108. So
okay, that was a misprint.
So he's still got, I think, a little bit in the tank. But with a 5-run lead, even if he cruises through this, they might try to get him out after this inning.
Do they get him? No. They appeal to the third base umpire, Steve Mattingly. They say no, he didn't go. Here's the look.
Close.
Ooh. That's a tough call, though.
I think that's the toughest call in baseball. Those guys down the line that try to make their mind up as to whether or not there was a swing.
Albertacini is warming up. This one's pulled foul. Albertacini going to work. You know, when Paul Mainieri was asked to compare this team to last year's, he said very similar, but maybe better at the top of the rotation, and certainly that would include Renato.
I think maybe is an understatement. They've been real good.
This goes over the head of the third base coach, Mike Taylor. We were talking with Taylor before the game down there, and he said, I don't mind wearing the helmet in the third base coach's box. That's a new rule by the NCAA this year, because too many times I've had close calls down there.
Ball zipped right over the top. For years, Wayne Graham coached third base, and we were kind of joking with Mike before the game. I used to love the way that Wayne would send guys in from third base. He'd just barely move his arm, just kind of wing it around like a little windmill. And from up here, a lot of times you couldn't tell if he was waving a guy home. But now Mike Taylor out coaching third base. It changed this year for Wayne.
To center. Matuk going back. Over to his right. Drop the ball. And Holt will stand up at second as Matuk took his eye off it a little bit. It's an error on the center fielder.
Gotta be careful now. You want to give Rice a chance here late. Gets that leadoff guy on with second. Excuse me, leadoff guy on with nobody out here. And the errors just kind of keep piling up here for LSU. We talked about the freshmen in this lineup, and that's just kind of nonchalant out there in center. Get taught from an early age to use two hands on those fly balls, and there's a reason so that ball doesn't pop out like this. I know that you don't see a lot of guys doing it anymore, but still a good idea, especially on a ball like that. Nobody on base. You don't have to throw the ball anywhere. But back to the errors. 4 so far tonight from LSU, but of those 3 freshman starters, all of them made 1 error apiece.
The reason, though, that Matuk has created a spot for himself in the lineup, his bat, it was so impressive right away when he got a chance. He had 2 home runs here at the new Alec Box Stadium against Harvard. One of them cleared the scoreboard out in left field, and Paul Mainieri said, I think I just found my starting center fielder for a while.
What's amazing is, I mean, the guy he replaced was a heck of a center fielder too. I mean, that's a big scoreboard, and that's set back about 10 rows out in left center field. That's a pretty talented freshman right there.
It's a beautiful scoreboard too.
It's a beautiful place. I mean, you know they're going to do it right with the history of baseball down here, the interest level, 5 national titles. You knew it was going to be done right. It absolutely was. They did not spare anything in building this place.
There's a strike into Rick Haig. It's 2-1 now. He's 1 for 3 with a single. One thing that is missing, though, from the old place is the Intimidator out in right field, the big national championship sign.
I got a feeling we're going to see that come back. I mean, that was such a big part of the old Alec Box, and I think that one will make some kind of a return here.
Haig chases the pitch high in the zone. It's 2-2.
Still a pretty good fastball, and that one snuck in on the hands of Haig. Even at a plus count 2-1, Renato kind of climbed the ladder right there, ran that 2-seamer in on Haig's hands.
That's about the position in right field where the Intimidator was in the old stadium. They've got plans for right field. They want to put a berm out there where fans can sit on the grass, and I think that's going to get done. 2-2 pitch. Got him. There's strikeout number 9 for Anthony Renato. First out of the 8th for Rice.
What Renato has done such a good job of tonight is the ability to throw that breaking ball out of the zone when he gets into a 2-strike count. Rice just has not been able to hold up. Watch the amount of breaking balls you're going to see. That's a fastball that climbs the zone. But after that, a lot of curveballs, most of them down and out of the zone like the last one, where these end up. This is when you really trust your catcher. You know Micah Gibbs is going to get in front and block that ball. A 2-seamer that just froze him right there. But other than that, the 9 strikeouts so far, 6 of them came on curveballs, and Renato's done his job. Paul Mainieri makes a slow walk out. I think that'll be it. But this is all you could ask out of this kid. A week after going complete game to help get LSU to this point, he goes 7 1/3 and really deals tonight.
15 strikeouts against Auburn April 24th, 14 against Baylor in the game you were talking about in the regional last week. I mean, he has had some big strikeout games, and again, a big number in strikeouts here tonight in an important contest, and he's going to stay in. Maybe he gets to double digits again in K's because Mainieri is leaving him in, and the crowd approves.
Paul Mainieri just had to look into his eyes and see what he had to say. Pitch count still not bad. Just getting into a low 120, so he hasn't thrown a ton yet. I don't think there's any chance he comes out next inning. But you get to the middle part of this order, you get Seastrunk and Rendon coming up. Seastrunk's taking some pretty good swings. He's flown out 3 times, but balls have been hit pretty well to center, and the freshman Rendon has taken some real good swings. Now
Diego Seastrunk, the number 3 hitter for Rice. He is hitless tonight, but a dangerous hitter. Takes strike one. 3 flyouts, all to the center fielder Matuk. LSU bullpen continues to work. It's Paul Bertocchini down there, the right-hander. 0-2. If he gets a strikeout here, this place is going to go nuts.
You know what's impressive about Renato tonight, he's essentially done it with 2 pitches. I mean, it's been fastball, breaking ball, but the curveball has been so good and he's controlled it so well. He really hasn't had to throw too many changeups.
Popped up right side. DJ LeMahieu going back on the outfield grass, makes the catch. Out number 2. How about that? After the trip to the mound from Maneri, Renato digs deep and gets a big out.
Well, sometimes, I mean, then it's a little gentle reminder that you might not have much left, and I think they're going to get him out of there right now. But that's probably what Paul Maneri told him. Maybe you get one more. We'll look into his eye and see what he said. But now 7 2/3, and you know you're coming out right now. But a well-earned congratulations. Anthony Renato pitched the whale of the game.
Paul Bertocchini is coming on. Anthony Renato in line for his 10th win of the year. He leaves with the Tigers on top 9-4. Anthony Renato out for the night, but what a night it was. 7 2/3, gives up just 1 earned run. And he has put LSU in a great position here in game 1 of this Super Regional.
Just kept plugging along, too. His defense was letting him down early in the game. He didn't change anything. Kept throwing the fastball over early. Great job of throwing that breaking ball over then late. Talk about the jump this kid's made from last year to this year. Last year he got the last out of that Super Regional, but didn't pitch a whole lot for LSU. Had some arm problems before the season started. Never really got in a groove on the mound as a starter. But this year has really carried the load as being a Friday starter most of the year, and must put him in a great position here in game 1.
And now the right-hander Paul Bertocchini coming out of the pen, a junior from the New Orleans area. Hasn't pitched a ton this year as a starter, but out of the bullpen quite a bit. This will be his 25th appearance.
Kind of a matchup guy when it comes out of the bullpen, and expect to see some sliders here to the freshman Rendon. A lot of strikeouts, 30 strikeouts in 22 2/3 innings for Bertocchini. Generally that means good sinker slider guy. A tight slider from Bertocchini is what I expect we'll see a lot of here to the freshman Rendon.
Anthony Rendon has been impressive at the plate. Pair of hits in 3 trips. A couple of runs scored. Takes ball 1. Rendon again the first player in Conference USA history to be named the freshman of the year and the player of the year in the same season. "19 home runs on the season. Number 19 came in the Conference USA title game. And this one hit well, high and deep to left. And it is off the scoreboard out there. A 2-run shot for Anthony Rendon. And Rice is now within 3.
There are not too many like this kid in the entire country. The swings that we've seen the freshman put on the ball tonight, the first time he hits in the right center field gap. This one sees a breaking ball, and this ball is hit out of sight. About 2/3 of the way up the scoreboard in left center, and Rice even down 5 runs. That'll get you off the bench. Watch where this ball hits. Just down below, but it's hammered out to left center on a curveball too. I mean, that's not a fastball that he spun on. That's recognizing the spin of a breaking ball and hitting it out of sight. I know we've talked about him a lot, but everything that they said about him coming in is true. Really quick hands, big time power, and he can play third base.
Ball and a strike to Chad Mazingo. Take a look at the bench behind him.
Did you see Seastrunk?
Seastrunk, who had his job at third base taken away because of Rendon's abilities, has been more impressed, I think, than anybody on that Rice roster among teammates.
You know, it was funny. We were talking to Seastrunk yesterday about it and said, you know, were you disappointed when you had to move behind the plate? He said, have you seen the kid play? And he said, it's all it took. I saw him play in the fall, and I knew that I wasn't going to play a lot of third base, and it's made them a better team to move him behind the plate.
Fly ball, shallow center field. Long run for Matuk. He calls everybody off as he should out there as the outfield general. And Rice is done in the 8th, but they strike for 2 on a big blow from Rendon. It's 9-6.
The NCAA Super Regionals is presented on ESPN by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by Comfort Suites Hotels. Get all the room you need to spread out and relax. Book now at comfortsuites.com. And GMC. We are professional grade.
Mississippi River Delta country. We're here in Baton Rouge. And the 3 national seed LSU leading 9-6 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. At new Alec Box Stadium alongside Kyle Peterson. I'm Clay Matford. DJ LeMahieu to lead off here. Love how they spell go. Those Go Tiger signs that you see as soon as you get into the parking lot here. They're everywhere. It's in that Cajun French spelling. The lunatics out there living the dream. Anthony Rendon with a 2-run shot for Rice in the top of the inning to cut into the Tigers' lead, but it's still a comfortable one as LeMahieu sprays this one to right field. Coming on as Mazingo can't make the catch, and it's a leadoff hit for DJ LeMahieu. All right, it's time for our Pontiac game-changing performance. Ryan Schimpf, that 3-run home run in the bottom of the 5th that changed the complexion of this game, gave the Tigers the lead for the first time.
And they just took off from there offensively. 3-run home run gave them the 5-4 lead. They would add on another 4 runs from that point, but 6 runs in the 5th inning for LSU to really bridge that gap and change this ball game. Schimpf, one of the big reasons why.
Showed bunt there. Ball and no strikes. Yeah.
Kid that's leading you in home runs. I mean, we already saw the 4-hitter Gibbs squared a bunt earlier today. Got a perfect sacrifice down. Now Paul Maneri asking Schimpf to do the same thing. We'll see if he takes it off now, though. In a plus count, a 1-0 count, you think he might get a fastball. Might give him one swing right here. Well, maybe not. You know what? I like, too, the pickoff call right there. Because you're not necessarily trying to pick the guy off. What you're trying to do is see if the guy's going to bunt at home plate. And because the left-hander has to lift his leg, that time we saw Schimpf show.
Again showing bunt, and again outside the zone, 2-0.
Now I'd be real surprised if he doesn't take it off for one pitch. He's already hit 1 home run off a left-hander today.
There's Matty Ott warming up now for LSU. Runner goes. Here's the throw from Seastrunk. He's already thrown 1 runner out tonight. Not this time. It's a stolen base for DJ LeMahieu.
Running with cover right here, too, and it almost looked like Schimpf was protecting him. LeMahieu didn't even look in. Good break going on first move by the left-hander right there. LeMahieu with good speed, not great speed, but that is 10th stolen base on the year.
And now Seastrunk is going to come on out for a chat. So it's obvious that the LSU closer is going to be coming on in the 9th inning. Matty Ott is out there working, but LSU would love to get maybe an insurance run or 2 here in the 8th.
I don't think they'd mind if he came in and it wasn't a save situation. It is now. They're up 3 runs, but Paul Maneri, you wouldn't mind tonight if he doesn't get his 16th save, but comes in a situation to where they have a lead of greater than 3 runs.
Again, Seastrunk has to slide out to make the play. It's 3 balls and a strike now on Schimpf. With Blake Dean on deck. 11 hits tonight for LSU. He walked him. Let's go to the studio now for an NCAA championship update with Ryan Burr.
Thanks a lot, guys. Just a reminder, 10:30 ESPN2 Louisville and Chris Dominguez out of the Big East taking on Cal State Fullerton, the #2 national seed. Once again, that's 10:30 in the East on ESPN2.
And now Blake Dean to hit. Nobody out for LSU.
A great matchup out west tonight.
You and I saw Louisville earlier in the season. And what impresses you about the Cardinals?
Well, I mean, we talk about Dominguez a lot, and we should, but watch Wunderlich. Guy right in the middle of that lineup. Left-handed hitter who has big-time power. The game that we saw him against Cincinnati hit 3 home runs in that game, kind of overshadowed everybody. But there's more to their offense than Dominguez. I think the one thing to watch with Cal State Fullerton, kind of your typical Cal State Fullerton team. They do everything pretty well. They can really defend. Christian Colon, the center or the shortstop, to me, he's about as impressive a shortstop as you're going to find. But they can do everything that Dave Serrano asked them to. Show you a little bit of power. They can really bunt, move the guy over. And as usual, they've really pitched.
Ground ball right side. This is going to be a tough play for Camarada. Gets away. Here comes a run for LSU as LeMahieu will trot in. We saw LSU with some fielding miscues early in this game, and now there's one for Rice.
Yeah, and this one goes on the pitcher. Evers did not get off the mound early enough, and it just changes the way that the play works out. As a first baseman, Camarada has to go anything he can, but watch how late Evers is breaking. See how he's staying right there? Kind of comes across on the third base side. Camarada turns around to look. There's just not enough time to make this play. And if you're Evers right now, I mean, you're having to bust it to get over there, even if that throws right on. There's no way. But what changes is he's late getting over there. You saw his head go down and look at first base. You can't watch the ball the way you normally would because you get to the base the same time that the ball is. If you break early, you have enough time to catch the ball and then look down and touch the bag.
Evers is down to Micah Gibbs. 1 ball and no strikes. As Gibbs is 1 for 3 tonight. He's also got that sacrifice bunt. Cleanup hitter for LSU as they lead it now by 4. There was that insurance run we talked about. And their closer is likely to come on out in the 9th inning to try and nail it down, even though it isn't going to be a save situation.
I think they've sat him down. It looked like when they added 1, they sat Ott down and changed some things up down in the bullpen.
And it's fouled off. Yet it continues to get even better here for LSU pitching wise. And if they don't have to use him, they can save him as well. And what Renato did, just put everything in place for the rest of the weekend.
Lines your bullpen up perfectly. Even if they take Bertassini out of the ball game, I mean, he could probably finish it and still be okay to come back in tomorrow. He's thrown less than 10 pitches coming out of the pen.
And now it's Adele warming up for LSU. Walked him, bases loaded. And now here comes Wayne Graham again. Evers was cruising right along last couple of innings, but here in the 8th, LSU gets to him like they have gotten to a lot of guys tonight. College World Series starting next week. Some things to be decided before that can happen, including this super regional. Here's a look at the bracket. Mississippi with the win today. Same with Arkansas. Louisville, Cal State, Fullerton later tonight on ESPN2. And LSU in the driver's seat in this one. On the other side, all the games that are looking ahead here to tomorrow. Some decent matchups there. Anything stand out in particular, Kyle?
I think what's impressive is all 4 national seeds have advanced so far. Texas with that 25-inning nail-biter last weekend against BC, but fought all the way through that one. Florida, national seed, will be at home. Arizona State has really pitched this year in a tough ballpark to pitch it. The ball really flies at Packard. And North Carolina kind of doing the same thing they've done the past 3 or 4 years. A little bit of everything right.
There's Ryan Schimpf at third, Blake Dean at second, and Micah Gibbs over at first as LSU has the bases loaded and nobody out here in the 8th. They've already tacked on 1 more this inning. And now Jordan Rogers is on for Rice. He is the 5th pitcher tonight for the Owls.
It's been the closer for most of the season for this Rice ball club. Obviously not a save situation here, but just trying to get him out.
Rogers started his career at San Jac JC before coming to Rice last year. A lot of appearances tonight, coming into tonight. Off the end of the bat, Mikey Matuk.
You see still double barrel action down in that Rice bullpen, and I think the key is, even with the closer on right here, Wayne Graham trying to keep this game close enough. If you're only down 4 going into the 9th, I think you still get a decent chance. If LSU blows it open, if they get a couple hits right here, I think you see Rogers come out and go back to that bullpen. Someone leave him in there too long, just in case you need him again tomorrow night in a save situation.
Matuk hit by a pitch for the 2nd time tonight, and Jordan Rogers says, why didn't he move?
I think he leaned into that one. One of the biggest differences between the college game and the pro game is you see a lot of guys do this. And that ball that's really close on the inside part of the plate, dip that front elbow and front shoulder in there and take it. But that one looked like it was just a little bit too much. I mean, he's definitely not trying to get out of it. We don't really have to. You don't have to dive and get out of the way, but you can't turn into it. Watch what Matuk does. See that elbow go out? I mean, it shouldn't have been a strike, but definitely should have been a ball, and they should have kept him at the plate. He absolutely extended that front arm, that left arm, and took it right off the elbow.
So the leadoff, or the first hitter, I should say, that Rogers faces here since coming in is hit by a pitch. Bases still loaded. Still nobody out for LSU. As it's 11-6 now. And Shano Chinko hits. Yeah, I thought he had to try to get out of the way, too. Going back to the first time that Matuk was hit by a pitch, he didn't lean into it, but he also didn't try to get out of the way. Didn't the rule used to be that you had to try to get out of the way?
Yeah, I think now, I mean, you just can't make it too obvious.
Fly ball, left center field coming on is Soltzbaugh, the center fielder. Getting under it, makes the catch, and he's in too close for the runner to tag. And that's out number 1.
I mean, what guys are taught is to roll that way anyway, because it gets your head out of the way and doesn't expose your face to the pitch. And so you're naturally taught that ball inside, you're supposed to kind of spin back towards the catcher. But what's kind of changed now is as guys spin, they a little bit closer into the plate. And you saw the freshman Matuk do it right there. I don't blame him. If they're not going to call it, you might as well try it. But it's one that they've really started to keep an eye on, I'd say, over the last 5 or 6 years. And you'll see that called a lot of times. They'll keep the hitter in place. They'll call a ball, because the ball definitely wasn't a strike, but they'll keep the hitter right there.
1 out for Jared Mitchell, who has 42 runs batted in on the year. Great opportunity here. Add to that total. 0 for 3 tonight. Couple of strikeouts. LSU in its 23rd NCAA tournament. They've been to 14 College World Series, including last year, trying to get back Trying to go up 1-0 in the Super Regional. And looking good right now as they have added a pair of runs here in the 8th. It's 11-6. Lewis Coleman is the scheduled starter for tomorrow's game for LSU. And now it's 1-2 to Mitchell.
Looks like we'll get Ryan Berry on the other side. Coleman, a guy that started his season in the bullpen for LSU and has really been allowed to go back to the starting rotation where he's been really good because of the emergence of the freshman Matty I.
Coleman, the 2009 SEC Pitcher of the Year, first-team All-American. He beat Minnesota in the regional title game. To first, Camarada. To second for 1. No throw. And they do not turn the double play. Another run scores, and it's 12-6.
I think a situation here, if you're Camarada, you got to know your runners. And with Mitchell at the plate, you're probably not going to double him off, even with a perfect throw to second base. I think this run needs to go home. I mean, if you think you can turn a double play in this situation, that's great. But Mitchell's too fast, man. There's no chance you're going to double him off. So if you're only going to get 1 out, I'd throw that ball home. You get the lead runner. Obviously don't allow a run to score, but there's no way you're going to turn 2 because Mitchell's about as fast as you're going to see.
And now here's Helenihi. As Seastrunk makes another stop. Helenihi, his first time up tonight, a single. That was last inning. Another guy that has kind of moved into a role for LSU. Spent some time at third and in right field this season. Was the starter in right field last year. And now they're relying on his defense here late in ball games, it appears.
When you think about that too, I mean, you got 2 guys as the action continues down in that Rice bullpen, but you got 2 guys in Helenihi and Leon Landry that started on a team last year that played in the College World Series. Yep. And now they didn't even start this year. I mean, that's how talented this LSU team has been. The freshmen have stepped in and played key roles. I mean, hand it to those guys for taking it the way that they have. I mean, you know, Landry and Helenihi are going to come up in big spots, and I can guarantee you that Landry's going to start a lot of games the rest of the year. He's just that good. But at times, and a lot of times because of matchups, you're going to see the starting lineup that we saw today.
Three and 0 to Helenihi. Swinging for the downs there and come up empty.
Well, if you get the green light on 3-0, you take this kind of a swing too. Looking fastball, and he got it. Right through that one.
3-1 from Rogers. Runner goes, and it's a stolen base for Jared Mitchell as he adds another one to his career total. He was thrown out earlier tonight, but there's his 34th stolen base on the year.
That's Seastrunk too. I mean, from the knees. Well, he kind of popped up, I guess, and threw it. That's what that speed of Mitchell will do. I mean, even if that's a perfect throw, there's no chance that they get him right there. But again, now you got 2 guys in scoring position, and if Helenihi can put it in play right here with a single, they'll score 2 more.
Yes, he did. Helenihi goes down. That's out number 3, but 3 more runs up for LSU. It's now 12-6. Last chance for Rice. Coming up.
Ryan Burr, Will Kimmy, just a reminder, bottom of the hour, it will be Louisville, Cal State Fullerton. There's a look at Josh Fellhauer, .399 batting average, leads the Titans. The junior center fielder coming up at 10:30 on ESPN2.
LSU 12, Rice 6. Last chance for the Owls. Lewis Coleman will go tomorrow for LSU. Ryan Berry, who also battled through some injuries for Rice this year, is the scheduled starter tomorrow, and that should be a pretty good pitching matchup, as was the case tonight in game 1.
Perry, a guy who really, since he stepped onto Rice's campus, has been their main guy on Friday nights. And we talked about Lewis Coleman, this year's SEC Pitcher of the Year. The guy that really has carried LSU on the weekends. Ronaldo's been outstanding, obviously, but Coleman is the guy that they weren't quite sure if he was going to start, if he was going to relieve. And as a starter, it's totally changed that rotation.
Michael Fuda. A leadoff single here off of Buzzy Heidel, the new pitcher for LSU.
Heidel, a guy, too, that came into this season primarily as an infielder. I mean, played a little bit last year for LSU. Was a part of that team that played in Omaha, but this year they've moved him to the mound a little bit more, and he's been pretty good. ERA below 3, hasn't thrown a ton, obviously, but wasn't going to play as much on the infield because of the emergence of the 2 freshmen, so now they've found a spot for him on the mound.
Jess Binger was a pinch hitter back in the 7th inning. He hits for the 2nd time. He lined out to center to lead off the 7th, and Mikey Matuk made an excellent catch, because at that point it seemed like, well, there's still time here for Rice. As the throw goes down to second, it's a stolen base for Fuda. And defensively, some great plays tonight for LSU that have kept Rice down emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, errors that started to change the game, and then the plays like Matuk's right there that really started to spin it back. It's a good move right there by Fuda, not being held on at first base. Can get that big of a lead, now take the double play out of order with the stolen base.
Breaking ball that's high for Heidel. Is that a situation there where Micah Gibbs maybe could have sold it a little more?
Looked like a pretty good pitch. I think he might have been a foregone conclusion to Gibbs that it was going to be a strike. I don't know where that one missed.
So now 2-1 to Binger. And 2-2. It's been an up and down career for Binger. In 2007, he was a regular in the lineup for Rice. Last year, a foot injury kept him out of the lineup more than not. And this year, with the emergence of other guys, he's only played a handful of games. Pulls this one into right field for a base hit. Heading home here, trying to score is Fuda, and he will easily as they go to second with the throw. It's an RBI for Binger. As Rice puts up another run, it's now 12-7.
They won't go away. I mean, this is a Rice team that can swing the bat. If you turn this order around, you never know. The senior Binger comes in late in the game. Kid that's had some big hits for this Rice team over the last couple of years. You can see, too, the difference that it makes with Fuda stealing second base or not holding him on, which, I mean, really, in that case, they shouldn't have. He steals second base easily and now scores.
Steven Soltzbaugh hits now. He goes after that high inside pitch. It's a strike.
Gibbs took a shot right there, too. Watch the swing right here from Soltzbaugh on the follow through. Gibbs coming up like he thinks he might have to throw, and that one, I think it popped him right on the wrist. Got just under the back of that glove will cover his wrist. It looked like it clipped him pretty good.
Fans want to know where that one was. Now it's 1-1. In the 5th inning, Soltzbaugh hit a solo shot to lead off the inning. At that point, it made it 4-1, and Rice was in good shape. But then in the bottom of the inning, LSU came back with 6, and they've had the lead ever since. Here's that home run in the 5th for Soltzbaugh.
Might have been the best swing of the night against Renato. I mean, breaking ball. Excuse me, that was a fastball, 3-1 fastball that Soltzbaugh spun around at the left center field. And at that point, Rice really was in control of it. I mean, it was doing everything they needed to offensively, and Ojala was dealing.
Yeah, you're right. They didn't put a ton of good swings on Renato. That curveball kept. Yeah, that curveball really kept him in check.
It just shows you the importance, and I know this gets talked about a lot, but the importance of throwing strike one. I mean, he pitched ahead the whole night, and he did it because of his fastball. Threw the fastball over early and then throw that breaking ball late in the count.
The 1-2. Breaking pitch there to the third baseman. Helenihi goes to the short side. And it's out number 1. Here's a look at our player of the game, brought to you by Capital One. No question, Anthony Renato gets the honor.
But pretty big back-to-back weekends for LSU. I mean, really come up big the entire season. But last weekend throws a complete game, gets him the win. Goes 9 innings, gets him the win. And then tonight goes 7 2/3. Does everything you could ask out of him. Strikes out 9. I like when they got him out of there, too. I mean, LSU had a good lead. Now you get a couple of relievers in there.
What was real impressive as Camarada takes strike 1 is when Paul Maneri came out in the 8th inning to visit the mound after the strikeout of Rick Hague. And it looked like Maneri was going to say, okay, this is it. But he asked Renato what he wanted to do. He says, I think I got it in me for one more hitter. And he got a dangerous hitter in Diego Seastrunk to pop out to second.
You could see his face. He said, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And that's a lot of times from a coach, that's all you need to hear. I mean, you'll go out there and hear it from your guy. And I would assume when Maneri walked out, he knew in his mind, the worst case scenario, Renato was only going to face one more guy. I mean, he was getting close to 125 pitches, and he wasn't going to be in there much longer.
Camarada, a little jam shot to second. LeMahieu throws him out, and there are 2 away. An NCAA championship update in the studio now with Ryan Burrow.
Thanks so much. Joined by Will Kimmy. There's a look at Christian Colon. It's Cal State Fullerton and Louisville in $1.20.
Yeah, this is like the Derek Jeter of college baseball, kind of a huge team leader.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to see him in just a minute over on the Deuce, guys.
All right, Ryan. Will, thank you very much. 12-7 LSU as Rice is down to its last out. Anthony Renato looking on in the LSU dugout. Strike 1 is into Brock Holt from Buzzy Heidel. Tomorrow night, game 2, LSU will be the visiting team, even though they're playing here at home. But they would be the home team if game 3 is necessary. And the Owls down to their last strike. Renato is going to pick up his 10th win of the year tonight and put the Tigers in great shape pitching-wise for the rest of the weekend. Popped up. Maybe a chance here for Gibbs going back to the screen. Runs out of room.
We've talked a lot about Gibbs tonight, but to me, he's kind of one of those unsung guys for this LSU team. Maybe gets overshadowed offensively because there's other big-time offensive numbers on this LSU team. But I think he's as solid as you would want back behind the plate. Really receives well. Attacks the ball when it's down in the dirt.
Pulled into the corner and right. And gone. A home run. It snuck out of here. Brock Holt with a 2-run home run, and hold on, this game isn't over just yet, as Rice is within 3 now, as Holt gets his 11th home run of the year.
When we talked to Wayne Graham earlier this week, he said, look out now, Holt's got a little power at the top of the lineup. A lot of times you don't see a leadoff hitter that can run one out of here like Holt can. And this isn't a bad spot. I mean, a fastball that's elevated up and in. Not going to go away. That ball was smoked, too. I mean, it did not get that high out to right field. Mitchell did not have any time at all to get close to the warning track before it carried out of here.
And now here's Rick Hague for Rice. Now if Rice can just get a couple of base runners and
get to Rendon.
It really
they get
would
to
make it
Rendon,
interesting.
they got a chance.
Rendon, of course, already has a home run tonight, a 2-run shot last inning. 5 runs in the last 2 innings for Rice. But again, the Owls have just one strike left here. Breaking ball to short. Nola up with it. The throw. Got it. And LSU wins it 12-9 here in game one.
Pretty impressive night for LSU. Renato does everything you would want him to do on the mound. You're going to look at the score. Say, all right, 12-9. Maybe they didn't pitch that well. Renato threw the ball great. You go 7 2/3 and hold down a real strong offense like Rice where they did. To me, the key was how LSU overcame the errors. 3 errors early in this game, 4 as a team. But Renato kept throwing strikes, kept him in it, and then offense came alive in the 5th inning.
So LSU gets game one. Mississippi also won today. So Ole Miss and LSU maybe on a collision course at the College World Series. Impressive win here in Baton Rouge for the Tigers. Look forward to game 2 tomorrow. Once again, our final score 12-9. Coming up next, baseball tonight on ESPN. On ESPN2, Louisville and Cal State Fullerton. We send you now to baseball tonight with Steve Berthium. For Kyle Peterson, I'm Clay Matvick. So long from Baton Rouge. We'll see you tomorrow night.